What is up, y'all? It's your boy Anarchy with my right hand man, Archbishop East in the building. How you doing, Archbishop East, on this fine Mother's Day?
Undefeated of the East, baby. What it do? Man, I'm doing great, man. How about you, man?
Just vibing, enjoying the day. If letting people come through for a bit, I'm not just gonna rush things. In a solid week. People in the chat, as y'all filing, how y'all doing? Let me know. Make sure you let me know. Church of MHA gotta, give people the chance from Twitter to come in. Also, if you are watching this and you have not watched my UA Trader video, that's something you can watch on your free time. Hey, Brenda Layla Cruz here right now. Nadir, let's go. See the regulars coming. Just coming. Love to see it. But got the regulars pulling up.
Love to see it. Let's get those likes going, people. Let's get those likes going.
Yep. See, I've had so many MHA words muted that I haven't had to worry about a bunch of spoilers hitting me in the face for a while now for MHA, thankfully. But I also know that we get into a point where I think it's getting harder and harder for some people to talk about spoilers anyway, because they just keep proving them wrong. So let's just see what happens. Oh, Micro's in here. I did see a lot of the art post. The art post actually corroborates with my suspicion that if their students are a traitor, it's going to be Aoyama, but I'm still sticking with Nezu. Remember that? Yep. Moshi. Love that. Got the whole squad pulling up. Ghostbusters. Okay. Oh, 33. Let's see. Should I start chat? What y'all think?
So
I'm asking the chat if they think I should just start the chapter now.
We got 18. Let's wait till we. Oh shit! No, we got 34. We might as well keep it moving.
Yeah, we could start right now. Hold on.
Like I said, title gonna tell you everything you need to know.
It's like that.
Yes, sir. I said every title, everything you need to know. Tarnish said start the damn chapter.
Start the damn chapter. Okay. Let me just finish typing this out.
So Jorge, so Jacob, Philip, and Zell. Our exhibition raw, of course. Of course, he drew it.
All right. The faithful shall be rewarded. You have arrived. We going. Let's go. My Hero Academia, chapter 311. Here we go. All right.
That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know.
All right.
It's Bishop Sayez in the building. Not a surprise when I also see Endeavor on the very first page. Also, Horikoshi stepping it up with his automatopoeias here.
Yeah, in English, you gotta love it, man. He loves his automatopoeias.
He airing him out. Come on, you idiot. We'd better split. Gotta do it with the horns. This bread loaf that Horikoshi took the time to draw the twist tie for. All right. Just shooting up the pillar, a nail gun support item. But it's overtuned for extreme capabilities. Damn it, Detnerat. Ignited. Hey. Okay, so I like this because it reminds me of the season 2.
Yeah, it's kind of
yeah. So Horikoshi's like, no, that's a cannon move. He got it.
Yeah.
Give me a break. You're the reason we're even out, Endeavor. Oh my God, bro. That's why I'm here. It's crazy how not reassuring Endeavor's I am here is in comparison. It's wild.
Hey man, reflection of the times.
I know. More escaped convicts. Damn, it's crazy how I'm looking at Hawks in this panel and he's getting into a car. His wings are missing. Damn, that's crazy. Damn, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
bitch ass nigga. Fuck
Like,
that bird.
like, bro, yeah. I'm gonna need people to start admitting, but you know, they never will. Anyway, more escape convicts, though none affiliated with him, I presume. Right. Damn, they just throwing trash at niggas now? Get out of here, you scum. Yep, we don't need fake heroes. Got the protesters. Nigga, that nigga would whatever. Ignore the fact that you was getting aired out. Ignore the fact that you were getting aired out. just ignore it. Like, don't worry about that. Yeah, you got it. You got it. Pragmatism is never the strength of humanity in a crisis, I swear. Because this is exactly how I'd see it happen anyway. If you hadn't let Shigaraki and his people get away, we wouldn't be dealing with all these escaped convicts. We should go, Endeavor. Those media folks said that Shigaraki was supposedly after someone else besides you people, which means you all are hiding something from us. Oof. Coward. The grieving relatives of the victims Dabi burned to ashes went on TV. Did you even see that? Oh, get out of here. Just seeing your face makes us feel hopeless all over again. You fakes. You got no right to show your face around here.
I got it.
That nigga depowered, bro. That nigga depowered his flame.
Yeah.
Did he just take his shoulder pads off, or did they retract into these?
They retracted. I'm pretty sure that they respond to the heat.
This suit is the compression tech ones, so the guards essentially thin and then retract back into its regular form. We saw it in Endeavor internship.
I'm pretty sure they're a combination of nanotech and nitinol. So.
Oh, by the way, that nigga on the bottom right-hand panel was actually, they pointed it out. That's actually twice his boss.
Holy,
from his flashback. Yeah, from his flashback. They pointed
that is
out.
Twice his boss.
Shout out to Tarnishing them for figuring that out.
See,
no, I wouldn't have seen
wow,
that.
it's almost like Horikoshi's actually good at his job.
Oh, it's connected world.
Don't worry, that's something I'm gonna talk about once we get everything. Cause that nigga the GOAT, dog. Wait till I tell you, that nigga the GOAT.
Yeah,
but I find it funny that kind of the guy who created Twice is crying about how Endeavor is responsible for Davi.
Hey, thanks Anaya 123 Anaya 14 with the donation. This chapter is so hype. Oh, my mom's here, so happy Mother's Day to her. Shout out to her, give her that love. You know what I'm saying? Y'all better be wishing my mother a happy Mother's Day. Without her, there is no me, which means there's no Church of MHA for you.
You better heard all that. So, Jacob, society really wavering hard.
Yeah, this is a waiver. Also, now, without question, I really want to hear some people's excuses for saying Hawks had his wings back when we hadn't seen them, because in this picture, you can literally see, like, just zoom in on that hoe, like, in 4K, no wings.
4K, 60 FPS, ray tracing on.
Which picture do you mean now?
Go to page 5, the panel where Endeavor looks sad.
You mean where he's without his flames?
Yeah.
Well, he has something on his back. It's not
those
wings,
those are the little ports where his wings used to stick out of.
Yeah. It's just the same jacket, huh?
Yeah. And if you remember back during Pro Hero arc, when he sent all of his feathers to Endeavor that he could, he still had a stump that came out further than the port.
Yeah, of course. I mean, was always clear. I think the question was more so if that stump would regrow, but it seems like it doesn't.
I mean, it was the literal bone that got charred. I don't think bones straight up regenerate.
They don't.
Like that.
He got scraps, bro. At the vest, he has scraps left.
Yep. Yes, I see. Please keep up research
KFC
for the Liberation
chicken
Front.
Wings.
Ed shot. Ooh. See, the whole top to bottom working together at this point. No progress, huh? Well, upside. This is what it always should have been. They should have always been coordinating to this degree. Imagine how much more peaceful things would have been if heroes were always working together like this. Anyway, should we let All Might and Midoriya get another kilometer or two ahead of us? If the media learns we're working with Midoriya too, he's bound to get flack for it. Yes, let's put a bit more distance between us. No sense in giving Deku more to deal with. Sure, he's the one who asked for this, but we're basically using the boy as a bait to lure out the league, except those villains have gone to ground. We're assuming the escapees, the supervillains from Tartarus in particular, received orders of some kind. It's only logical that they'd use the greater confusion and chaos to keep a low profile while going after their target, one for all. But heroes are fraying at the seams. If I were All for One, I would go on the offensive. It must be like Deku said. Right now, his top priority might be hijacking Shigaraki. All Might destroyed him to the point that he needed to be connected to tubes to keep him alive. And now he's grooming Shigaraki to be some sort of ultimate life form. It would make sense if his goal is to take over that new body. According to Garaki, who's in custody, Shigaraki was activated before his body was complete. We're unsure of the specifics of the potential body transfer, but it's clear that Shigaraki has to be complete for it to work at all. And then comes All for One's next goal. He'll be able to steal One for All. Something about that is bugging me. Oh? Midoriya and All Might explained to us how a body that's too weak can't receive it. Yeah, it makes sense that you need a young, strong body, but there was another element. What I don't get why Shigaraki's rage is so essential. A strong emotion is key, no? After all, One for All contains 8 other spirits. One needs strength of will to override them. But All for One has been pursuing his younger brother and One for All for generations. You'd expect the guy to hold on to plenty of hatred for all those other successors. Maybe it's not enough hatred yet, or maybe he has none at all. It's just the impression I get, but I think about it. That guy never stopped smiling, right? Something's missing in his soul, huh? Either way, these supervillains have no useful intel yet. Nothing that gives us any leads. If the enemy is hoping to avoid conflict for now, our obvious move is to take the fight to them. It might be worth expanding our search at some point, even if that means fewer of us keeping the peace out on the streets. Beep. All right. See All Might in his whip. Still on the move. Kid, you're not getting much sleep. I recommend a decent night's sleep in a cozy, warm bed. Oof. The Night-Eye flashback. Night-Eye. Beep. What now? Damn it, the kid's GPS signal is gone. Uh-oh. Damn it. Boom. Someone, hey, you, boy in green. So they threw a speaker thing into his phone. Holy shit. You're coming with me. But someone's here for me, not just any old villain here. Randomly, they're specifically after me. Here we go. Here we go. An escapee with ties to him.
I couldn't believe that was a phone when I saw that.
Come quietly, and you get to keep your limbs. A hired gun sent by All for One? Yo.
Yes.
Do we know anything about
sir.
her?
Yes,
that's the girl from the prison.
Yeah, I know.
No, we don't know anything about her. We don't know.
I've just in this panel, I noticed that her hairstyle is kind of similar to Hawk's. These weird, grays strands of hair.
It does kind of look like it, but
I don't think they are related.
I mean, they could just be. I mean, they could just be highlights.
So Anarchy, do you want to go ahead and
wait,
gloat real quick?
Let me hit these real quick. Anaya coming through. Happy Mother's Day to everyone's mom. Without them, we wouldn't be here where we are today. They're the most important people in our lives, so don't forget to let them know how much you love her. Jorge Valdez, that guy is always smiling. Holy moly, he is right. Just like All Might, they are always smiling. It's like poetry. It rhymes. Why is she with Overhaul? Our boy Overhaul doesn't work for anyone. I'm pretty sure they're about to ask Deku for help. Man.
I personally think the hired gun and Kai are working together for a common goal. A divorce from All for One.
Hey, because I don't know what makes y'all think that this nigga Tizaki is this hard ass badass convict to the end of his times, like he never quitting. The nigga has no arms. I need y'all to stop thinking that he has a choice in what he does. He has no fucking arms. Who he gonna talk shit to? Who he gonna be defiant to? He has his father. He trying to get out. Just because he know what it works by doesn't mean that nigga has a choice. He literally has no arms. What can you do with no arms? Please tell me that.
I mean, you can walk.
And what else? Nigga ain't got no money, no connections, no arms. Look, the fuck? This nigga can't do shit. Of course he's working with her. I don't know how that happened and how the logistics.
You can use utensils with your toes. Like there's many things you can do.
Yeah. So my thing is that we thought her, like a lot of people thought her quirk was going to be something like with electricity, but it looks like this is a
It's
bio
just
rifle.
Honestly, I see it as I think she's a hybrid because
Yeah,
they
it looks
exist.
like-
They very much exist in the world because there's still something weird when she helped out overhaul unlock the thing. There was like you could see like the, you know how Momo's quirk activate. There's like little
Mhm.
what mana, electricity, mana, whatever. You can see that on her when she was opening Shizaki's door.
Yeah, that's why a lot
Yeah.
of people thought it was something like electricity. But if you look, you can see that that's literally her arm and a gun popping out of her elbow.
Exactly, and then like that shit like some shit off of Halo, like someone the Covenant guns or some shit like the tendrils that stick down. It's like I tell you, I'm basing she has a hybrid type quirk.
I
Like,
think
they
it's more
exist.
like I think it's more kind of like Tamaki's quirk, to where it's like a variant of that, but rather than turning into animals, she turns into weapons.
Exactly, so it's like a hybrid type.
What
quirk.
Or
about
tools in
Tamaki's
general.
Tamaki allows him to be a hybrid. more
like
than-
I do think that there is a bit of a hybrid thing. I also think that there's a bit of an animal thing because there are a few animal features about this weapon. And then what I noticed is that the strange detail that the dead person next to her has lost both arms at the elbow.
oh yeah, that's overall.
That's Chisaki.
Yeah, that's overall.
But that's all right.
Yeah, I don't know what he's gonna do, but that's overall.
That's why people kept
Why is
talking
he
about like
there?
he doesn't have, like I said, he doesn't have a choice really much. Like I don't know
No,
why
but
he's there.
why did you bring him here? I mean, it's not like he's gonna be useful.
That
I mean, can't he just play Oracle in the background?
What can he play?
Oracle, you know,
Oh, he's
Batman,
yeah,
Barbara
yeah.
that got
Yeah.
shot, man. Yeah, you know.
Oh wait,
basically
why
for
put him in
those
the streets?
basically for those of y'all don't know who Oracle is was it Barbara Gordon when she got crippled in one of the Batman comics or whichever Batman costume you follow, and she's basically
Killing
just
Joke.
support. She basically just support from that fucking Batcave. That's all she does.
and if you're asking what was going on with her finger, that's what she used to generate the knife. It looks like, because if you zoom in enough, you can kind of see that it's a little reminiscent of the shape of the other thing that thing that like went through there. So it seems like she might have thrown the knife thing so that it would actually have the ability to like have a speaker. So yeah, it looks like she's got some kind of like
I wonder I wonder if it's a combination of like Momo and Tamaki's quirk, to where she needs like a resource to like digest in order to form this stuff out of her body. Like, it necessarily doesn't have to be fats, but I think there's more at hand, because what we're seeing here is like the gun itself. It's not even made of like any like real materials for a gun.
It's
the
weird.
tripod is bones. It's like these weird formations of bones.
Yeah,
That's
it
what
looks
it is.
really, really animalistic at parts.
Oh yeah.
You
It's
have
like I mean, I love the weapon design because I've been playing Monster Hunter a bunch, and this looks like a Monster Hunter weapon.
Yeah.
like the
Apparently,
closest
Horikoshi has
thing to
too.
a scope is just this weird bone formation at the top.
Yeah, because like the thing that's confusing to me is that like she's producing this gun out of her elbow, but it looks like it's her finger because that looks like a fingernail on the ridge towards the back. What'll be interesting for me is whether or not she has to keep this attached, or if she's like sprouting a weapon out of her body. In which case, she could end up with ties to Momo if she can just like produce weapons.
Like the barrel of it has these like constant like horizontal lines that kind of remind me of tendrils.
Yeah. It reminds me a bit of Amajiki's quirk from the way it's designed, yeah.
I really think it's like this combination like Momo's and Tamaki's quirk, to where she can essentially make like bio tools or weapons out of a limited resource that she digests.
That's what I think it has to be.
Like
Because there's always a limit and a biological trigger for quirks, or almost always, I should say. So,
good. Oh yeah, for right now, we've denounced her name as until next week. If we get it next week, her name next week. For right now, she's Lady Deathstroke. It's Queen B, Lady Deathstroke. So Annika, you want to go first about how you called it, or I can go about mine. Which one you want to do?
Spit, bro, spit.
Yeah, because all right, so you got Rogues Gallery after me. So I told niggas back at 298 there's a reason all the prison breaks weren't shown bar for bar as in one entire arc. I told niggas that and it was like, well, why would I see it? But this, that, and I was like, no, there's more merit in keeping all the prisoners in the backseat. So when they come out in full gear, and Horikoshi has them with designs and costumes that match their personality to boot, their introduction is much more prominent and exciting than just seeing, oh, look at this new prisoner, like jumpsuit. You just get him as a prisoner escapee. You seen her once, right? She makes a reintroduction with her costume and her quirk, and now it took her from, oh, she's just a baddie to, oh shit, she's a fucking badass. That's the point in Horikoshi's main promise in MHA is character designs. One of the best things he's at is character design. So I said, watch him saving the introductions for a lot of these escape convicts that come back and later down the line with badass designs and their quirks to showcase them furthermore in a better spotlight than just like, oh, look at this nigga in the jumpsuit. You know what I'm saying? Well, how much of the impact that's right? Like he kind of cool, but like you bring a nigga full out in his suit with his shit like bopping like this, then it makes impact all that much more greater.
Also, real quick, Jorge Valdez, maybe the new girl and Chisaki bonded and now they're friends. The first thing that Chisaki said when he got out was the boss. Maybe he wants to help his boss, but hey, I'm just spitballing. Oh yeah, definitely.
I definitely think he would help his boss.
He'll do anything for his boss.
Yeah.
This man was crazy enough to essentially kill his boss for his boss. So
that's some psycho shit.
Like,
So what do you think? So now we have to ask the question, what do you think is their big goal here?
So with this case, I don't think Overhaul is gonna pair with All for One necessarily. Just because I don't know if there's much in it for him to be with All for One, especially when it looks like he's still wearing like raggedy clothes to a certain degree. Or it could just be that it's hard to look like you're wearing nice clothes when, you know.
You got no damn arms.
So, but with Overhaul's case, I think he wants to find Eri. So the come quietly and you get to keep your limbs thing, this might be a completely unrelated thing. And what East was talking about is how when I said like there's got to be a rogues gallery, he's got to run into these people multiple times. This is that rerun, but like instead of it being an expendable bullet, like this bullet, so to speak, is more valuable than Overhaul in his current state presently.
That's exactly what I said. They'll be different. People wanted Overhaul to come back as like some big baddie, and they do the same shit they did again in Deco Beast. And I was like, nah, this nigga not the same person he once was. He lost everything. All right, he not some hard ass like goat like Stain or like a Muscular came back. He not like that. All right, like lost his arm, he helpless. He has to form out a different way. The main thing about this is that Deku has to go talk to these people again and get different viewpoints and see how things could have been different. So it's not going to be hands. Like most likely he'll be put in a situation where he has to work side by side by thing, but he doesn't agree with his methods. Same thing how like in Daredevil, him and Punisher kind of had to work together, but he don't agree with killing. But Frank like, might as well just kill these niggas because all you're gonna do is put them in. They're gonna go in jail for 2 years. They're gonna come out and do the same shit once again. Or they won't get prosecuted at all. You'll off the loop. You just beat them up and repeat the cycle. So I'm here to end the cycle. And that's the type of shit staying me on.
And the question about danger sense, I think this is like, it might just be because she was targeting his box to talk to him, technically. So he's technically not in danger. But now my thing about Bakugo trying to save him doesn't sound so far-fetched, does it? Dicks.
Nigga came back for them.
But it is interesting that, like, I do think it probably just has something to do with the fact that he was not targeting him specifically. Like,
but people did bring up an interesting fact, like, well, that kind of same thing kind of happened with, like Muscular when he sensed Muscular and he wasn't getting targeted. So I think we'll get further. Like, I think this is perfect time for it to break down how Danger Sense exactly works, because they'll be like, oh shit, why didn't Danger Sense go off? And they'll probably break down the statistics or how the Danger Sense exactly works, because niggas be getting impatient and shit like that.
Also, because people were like, do y'all think All Might is like laying there injured?
So I think you see Fast and Furious, right, Aniki? Tokyo Drift. All right.
I don't watch any of those.
Oh, okay. So well, it was one scene like where one of the guys, like one of the main characters, like his car flipped over and it was like basically on fire. He started crawling out and like before it exploded, but like when the guy kept in it, so it exploded and died. Pretty sure All Might's car is not blown up, like because this car looks durable, right?
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's stable. So pretty sure it's damaged and he'll be crawling out soon enough. What I seen was this. If you notice, now is this the reason why we kept All For One, all these niggas in the backside, and we didn't see what they were doing. I knew All For One wasn't sitting on his ass. He's not that type of nigga. He makes some type of move. So if you look, Genius got an alert on his phone. That's step one. All Might got caught off guard. That's step two. And you know it's not. You know it's most likely not All Might. That I mean the Lady Deathstroke that took out All Might because she was already aiming at fucking Deku, and his shit was like he was like what the hell his shit left. So she was already doing something different. So
Something tells me
I'm pretty sure it's a bigger team of multiple people doing multiple things at three different times because you know what Hawks and Endeavor and Genius are all there doing stuff. So it best be like it's most like a trap for Genius in them, especially how they got S shot in them. They set up All Might because they know he weakened on the side. They got Deku, so I'm pretty sure they planned this shit by observing them.
Because the other thing though is that beat that like it could be that he got a different alert, but it could also be that they both got the alert that Deku's GPS was destroyed at the same time.
That's what I assumed. I thought that would be the case.
So, but from that perspective, that means that that's still a coordinated attack because that would mean that their target might not have actually been Deku this whole time, but it was getting more of the pro heroes out of the way. Because Deku at the end of the day is still just a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
But if it's coming from All For One, and they know he wouldn't take those niggas lightly, because he already told Shigaraki back at Sports Festival, these niggas can be a danger to you.
Yep.
My question is, what in this plan needs the involvement of Deku if, in the situation, they are working for All For One? Why not send a more proven, a more proven fighter?
Says who? What do you mean?
Well,
whose side are you speaking for?
Okay, so I personally don't believe this, but under the idea that she is working for All For One, why not send, for example, like if you wanted to guarantee Deku's capture, why not send in Makia?
I mean, who knows how strong she is?
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. You don't know her. You don't know her specs. She literally just bypassed danger.
And the thing is, I assume they took out the GPS signal on purpose to not call in all these other heroes so they wouldn't find Deku so easily. And bringing in Makia, they would find him immediately. I mean, why make the GPS signal go away if they then bring in Makia, who's like seen from miles away?
And I'm telling you, they know. They have like it's not hard to find, all right. They like you've seen a press conference, they all know fucking Genius, Hawks, and Endeavor are working together. You can track those niggas on the side if you're not doing anything. Like they're so hyper focused on getting all these confidence out the street. If I'm shadowing these guys from the side, they don't have no dangerousness, they don't have none of that. They're so focused on doing what they're doing. If I'm just on the side monitoring them and their abilities while they're so focused on getting all these confidence out the street, doing everything they can, not resting like Deku. It's like, all right, I can build a case because it's been like over a month since this shit's going on by this time, at least a month.
I mean, never mind that, especially the pro heroes, so Best Genius, Hawks, Endeavor, they wherever they go, they apparently pull a crowd demonstrating them. They're easy to find. Just follow the crowd.
Yeah, you got it.
And that's the other thing. Like, you notice that though, like if we're being honest, the Genius, Endeavor, and Hawks being so public, All For One probably doesn't even have to track them. This nigga can just sit on Twitter.
No,
like,
I mean they're easy to find.
He's just on Twitter like, oh, Hawks saw that. Oh, they did that. Oh, they did that. They seem to be moving in a path. I wonder, and like then all they have to do is think like, oh, while they're here all the time, there's almost always something being solved by somebody else, like a kilometer away.
Yeah, which is why they increase the distance now. I think they're trying very hard to make it impossible to make this connection. But of course, if they follow close enough the villains, they could possibly draw this conclusion. But I think we have now spent quite a bit of effort into telling us as the reader that they are trying to make it so that the villains can't draw this connection. So
1 kilometer is like half a mile.
Two-thirds, I think.
2/3? Oh, okay. It's like that's
That's-
not like a huge radius to where
that's not-
someone can't make that connection. Like I think just
Yeah,
straight up
but they said
operating
get
off that
another kilometer, so it's like they are more than a kilometer away, I think. And now they're, I think, one more, which is not much, yeah.
I mean, but at the same time, you do realize how fast Endeavor can move, right?
And
Like,
Hawks,
yeah.
not anymore. Now they make
Yeah.
That
he
bitch
used
has
to
that
be
bitch
Sorry.
has very
move
fly.
built differently, but now he ain't built different.
Yeah, so like
He's
kinda,
built crippled.
and it's not like they have much of a choice, but they need to be on standby in case Shigaraki comes. So that's the best bet they have. They don't have every time you try to make everything logical, what majority logical, they don't have a choice but to play the cards. They're down bad.
That's the
By the
thing.
way,
They have-
It's like,
they have no
I really
Yeah,
love
you
this
gotta-
mobility and
you
card
can't
thing.
have the
Just-
best. Yeah, you don't have the best options. You just got to work with what you're given.
Yeah,
I'm just
Yeah.
saying either one of these factors are going to come into play, and their plan's going to get ruined because of that.
I mean, already did at this point, but it didn't come from the civilians figuring that shit out. It came from the villains already figuring that shit out.
Bro, they was throwing like water bottles and trash cans. I even saw like a little piece of rock, like this little jagged rock, and it was just getting thrown at this cool whip.
sorry. Like if you're came through to say step on me, random lady.
Hey
So-
man, you kind of spitting. That nigga Chizaki eating right now, punk ass.
Anyway,
That
something
nigga-
else I
that nigga living their life.
noticed something else I noticed is in Deku's design. I think I noticed this before, but now that we see his full face, I think we didn't see that much of it in the last few chapters. His eyes narrowed quite a bit, right? I mean, I remember before that he had like these huge round eyes, and now he's getting older
Yeah, he is. It's been a year.
and more
it's been
wary. and more wary.
basically been like damn near 2 years since we've been following that boy on his journey.
I've just been looking at this pen, and I'm thinking if Horikoshi did this on purpose to show that he's getting older, because eyes always narrow when the people get turn to adults.
So my thing is that I like about that too is that I think you're right, CS, that this is because Horikoshi is the guy who goes out of his way to like try to draw every scar as often as possible. The guy that like goes out of his way to like have Deku be noticeably more muscular to the extent that one of my friends was like at work is like, man, the most alienating thing about Deku is seeing his childlike face on his jacked body. Oh, so like now we just getting the like even the way his hair is kind of like flowing looks more.
Yeah.
Oh, it actually kind of reminds me of the original design of
Jack
Jack
Midoriya?
Midoriya.
Yeah.
Yeah. With how fritzy his hair is now. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I need to address this thing too because it's starting to piss me off now more than
What?
ever. But it's like because it's inside the story,
Mhm.
and it's something that I'll preface it by saying this: if you think the Dobby reveal took too long and it should have been happened at this point day and age, you do not comprehend. What's it? What I'm saying? Dramatic our context or how the story of MHA is written. Like I've been said a long time ago during EA, I called it. The reveal isn't for us; it is for the Todorokis.
Hmm.
The
Yeah, the public.
context. We have all the context of why Dobby should be Todoroki. People like, oh, it's obvious. It wasn't obvious to the fucking people inside the story because they live in a real life. They only have the information that they have for like because they don't see what we see when the league does this. They didn't see Dobby first appearance being in front of the shop. They don't see this, that, and the other. People ask like, why? How come you didn't know it was Dobby for this long, nigga? Because now that you have context, Dobby died and his fire became blue. Endeavor didn't see it. By the time he seen that shit, there was a massive fire. How you supposed to know that Dobby turned his flames turned blue and then he did that? Like they don't have the context of everything. So in their mind, Toya should have been dead a long time ago. Like kid referencing it, and then Todoroki was like, "Well, you can tell your friends." It's like I don't know how to bring up. I got a dead fucking brother because it kind of wasn't relevant. It's not just something I just bring up like my dead brother or my family issues. They only came up in a sports festival for a specific reason. It was like, where do you bring that up? It's like, so in context, Deku and all the other Off One users don't know what the fuck they talking about.
You know what'd be fun?
Everybody on the hero
Mhm.
side does not know what they talking about, and it comes back in the real life too. Because people keep saying, "Oh, he just want his body. He just want his body." No, Has Off One ever alluded to one this nigga body? Ever once himself, not that PTSD that y'all got from the other series. Has Off One himself ever referenced or attempted, I want to take Shigaraki body? No. He is, people try to make him be supremely pure evil. He's just an overprotective parent and a greedy motherfucker. He has a chance to get the shit he's been looking for over 100 years. So he's like, oh, Shigaraki, you did all this work, but we're working together in this. We have the same dream. I'm just going to step over here, son, because you're my son, and I'm going to take it because I know it's best, and I think we should do like this. Parents do that shit all the time. People just trying to make like, oh, he just want his body, this, that. No, it's like Hawks and them don't know what they're talking about. Deku came in there, and he came at the wrong time, and because he doesn't know what he sees Tenko. He doesn't see that Tenko just murdered his family right after that scene of his own volition. Not because Off One said, tomorrow, kill your family. No, he did that shit himself. So once again, everybody just keep putting their what they think because Off One is so evil that they can't see that they actually have a real bond. And the shit is actually starting to irritate me how nobody know what they talking about. Because Deku just seeing some shit and they just judge based off what they think they know. Because all my asked this nigga, why would you do this? Why would you have a successor? He told this nigga, Elma, like, nah, you evil. You got this plan. I'm like, all right, nigga, I told you, but you don't want to listen. Because you don't believe me, because you don't trust me. Like, come on now. That shit.
The craziest thing is with All For One, like, at least with his like character archetype, you'd expect him just to be like this lying, like sniveling, like just malicious dude, but he never actually lies. He just omits and kind of he doesn't directly like make up an event. He'll just tell it a little differently than what a reasonable person would expect.
But he didn't lie to Tamura though. Tell me one time he actually lied to Tamura.
Okay, so part of the thing for me is that All For One, I have the only lie that we could potentially even have is that he was raising Shigaraki for himself. That's like the only potential lie we have on the table here. And even that doesn't work, because like you said, that was just like omitting some stuff. But what I want to know, because just like how he was like, man, why doesn't All For One have enough rage? I think the question is still, is this going to be like, it doesn't feel like this is an actual body swap. This feels like what happened for those of you who have watched it, Invincible. That's what this feels like to me.
Dead ass. That's exactly what it is.
This doesn't operate or interact with at all on a level that corresponds with just a straight up swap.
I have to say what irritates me, or not irritates, but makes me wonder is the fact that they are all so certain about it, because nobody told them that he's going to take over the body. It's just something that apparently Deku and All Might and the OFA messages came up with, and they told everybody, but it's not like either Shigaraki or AFO actually said it. So it's just assumptions.
That's my point exactly. Deku came at the wrong time, the complete wrong time, and did not understand everything that was going on. Doesn't know the context and the history. Like I said, people have a bias or they have an opinion that All For One is superbly just pure evil, right? He can't have friends. Like other people was talking about, oh, he can't have friends. He's just using fucking Uchiko. He's just using them. When Aniki pointed out the fact that All For One, who views himself as a god, instead of Uchiko, the minion holding the umbrella for All For One held the umbrella for Uchiko. When Aniki pointed out, I seen that nigga in a complete different light. Because I'm like, people just think he's just because he's so cruel, right? And he's so manipulative, this, that, and other. They can't see that he actually does have a heart and he cares for other people. He already told All Might, I despise you because you took out my allies and everything we worked to build. Our sacrifices. He said our sacrifices, not just my sacrifice, our sacrifices.
Like, the thing is, I don't know if it has anything to do with heart. I don't know if it's like I care about Shigaraki, so I want his dreams to come true. I'm not sure about this part because I do absolutely. I see him capable of just sacrificing Shigaraki for his own plans. But I do think that with how certain everybody now is in the show, that in the story, that this is what he's planning, it's too easy because it's just an assumption at this point.
Right, because like Horikoshi almost never is just hands us the stuff this simple, this early. And even with what's going on here, it doesn't add up. Like it's like we just discussed, like it doesn't make sense it doesn't seem like he's actually transferring himself. It seems like there's just a copy being downloaded into Shigaraki. It doesn't seem like their priority is even Deku in this interaction. It's because they just shot Deku's phone. But if they wanted to just take him back, they could have just shot his legs off and gone about their day. They didn't actually have to give Deku time to talk. So I don't really think that the overhaul and this girl are necessarily tied to All For One completely yet. I'm not totally sold on that particular bandwagon. That like this might just be them with their own agenda. And ultimately, like because overhauls from like the Yakuza, they're like, yeah, I'll be able to pay you eventually. Don't worry about it. Like that's what that feels like to me. Like this might be a separate overhaul and this girl team up. I do believe that it's possible that, but that said, I do think that the real focus here is going to be taking All Might out. I think taking All Might out is the priority here, making sure that All Might's actually dead. Because All For One is a sadist. So instead of just taking out Deku, he would more than likely just do something that would make Deku more likely to comply with him, and just threatening All Might is way easier.
And he probably would definitely bring him to tomorrow. Because he
wouldn't. You're a little quiet.
Oh, he probably definitely bring him to tomorrow too. He wouldn't just let All Might go. He's too petty for that shit. He is way too petty for that. He would rub it in and make it like soak real deep. He wouldn't just pop that and be like, nah, I'll raise some more to take your ass out. I'm gonna use you as leverage over fucking Deku, all types of shit. That nigga just don't. He hates you. He really do hate you. He gonna take a step further than just knocking All Might down real quick. He got some plans for that nigga.
Because the other thing, like when they talk about the rage, if you remember, even when they said that, I think even back then I was like, it seems more like the quirks are fusing on a conceptual level and he needs the power of decay specifically, not that the emotions are what's at stake here. And I think that's the real twist, which is why I don't think All For One gave Shigaraki decay. I think he wanted to put like Shigaraki in that body to decay away those wills, but I don't even think like necessarily that he wants to, like, to me, All For One wants One For All because he realized his brother isn't there.
As simple as that.
Like, to me, that's the main thing. Like, he's going to be one of those twisted weirdos who's just been super obsessed with his brother this entire time, especially because creepy. I think that he's got to find out and realize at some point, in some way, he's got to realize that he killed his sickly brother. And I think that's a part of this. Because they understand that having an extra quirk puts like an extra burden on your body. So in turn, he has to have sat down after hanging out with Ujiko, learning all this, and been like, objectively, my brother already had a quirk. I gave him a quirk. There's a chance that shortened his lifespan even further. Because we don't know if All For One straight up killed Yoichi, and it doesn't seem to imply that he did, because he's been looking for him this whole time.
At best, it may have been an accident.
Like, to me, it seems almost like Yoichi could have, hold up, let me not let y'all get alarm bombed. So if Yoichi, for example, was just with the resistance and then died, he's like, where's my brother? And then it's like, oh, well, your brother's, so like more than likely when the second user fought All For One, he was like, Yoichi gave me his power and I'm going to use it to defeat you. And then that didn't happen, but it didn't matter because he had already passed it on to his right-hand man, who eventually met Yoshikage, gave it to him, and went into battle. Or not, was it Yoshi? Whatever.
No, Shinomori. Well, I don't know if Shinomori the first name.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember the fourth use. I don't know why I said Yoshikage.
Yeah, Shinomori.
I think it's because of JoJo's Part 4.
Makes sense.
But yeah, so he would have given that to him. And then that explains why it's 3 apart. And you're right, it is Yoichi Shigaraki, unless All For One lied about his last name.
I highly doubt that one.
Yeah. No, I do think that Shigaraki's All For One's last name was Shigaraki. Yeah. Because that's like the perfect vanity stamp. I took my rival's grandson and put my last name on it. It's mine now.
Mine now. I was like, that's mine. Can't have it. Mine.
But there's also something about All For One's character that I think is kind of flying under the radar. He's not in full control of himself and never has been. Think back to what he said about the Pussycats when he took search. He was like, I see a quirk and I just gotta have it.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right about that.
Same way Decay gets the itch, the same way that Bakugo's explosive, the same way that anytime Ida applies himself, he goes full throttle. So from that perspective, now factor in what All For One said during Vigilante speech. A person becomes a villain when they enact their will on a quirk and makes it go out of control, or a quirk enacts their will and goes out of control and forces a person. So All For One is just a crazy, nerdy weirdo obsessed with his brother with a quirk that has basically made him a megalomaniacal like mastermind. That he has to take all these things and he has to go absorb the powers. It's what the same way your colon makes you have to poop, your quirk don't make you quirk.
Exactly. That ass. I think because I seen All For One's personality before his quirk manifested, or during the time he'd be just like that type. He just be like the alpha, air quote, like the alpha dog. Like he would be like in a group of like, let's say we got your stereotypical white males, right? Mm-hmm. Rich white males, and in the group, there's of course the leader of the pack, right? The one who has the most charisma, but has the most devious actions, that does everything. But he's so charismatic and smooth with everything he does, and he gets away with everything that people just kind of let it slide. And he's kind of an asshole, but he knows how to talk and spit game to anybody, right? So he just like, you're like, hey man, how about you take it over from here? How about you pay for this? And we'll do that. And it just brings, indoctrinate the new guy like a frat boy, like the leader of a frat or something like that. So it shows in his personality that he was definitely like that before the quirk came. And I think the quirk just amplified that shit times 20 because he has the biggest ego ever. Even now, nuts at face, biggest ego ever. Tooled up, niggas still got the suit up, and he still got the biggest ego ever in this fucking series.
It's true. Most people would have like chilled out and gone home after getting their hairline and punched off. Like if you punch me bald, I quit. Whatever I was doing that you punched me bald for, I quit. like
nigga, I'm fall into the sunk cost fallacy. Then you're like, now that I'm bald, I can just continue.
Like nigga, I'm bald. Nigga,
nothing
I'm bald.
To lose anymore.
My eyes don't even. I'm not blind. My eyes don't exist, nigga. I got no nose, and I'm breathing through a fucking tube.
Push the eye socket away.
Who the fuck is still as cocky as that, nigga?
Like, bro,
you built different, son.
Retire, go home, go to Malaysia, have a nice drink on the beach.
This I know. I know Nutsack Face was handsome and shit because Yoichi was not that handsome the first time. He looked kind of sickly and his nose a little bit too pointy, and he looked down bad. But I think we just call him at his worst case because when that nigga was in the best world, I was like, yo, who this so smooth ass, handsome ass nigga up here? I'm like, this nigga was a little bit too cool. The best world, like, hey bro, he was like this his first go around. Watch. That nigga All For One gonna be one handsome ass nigga. I'm like, see, niggas want him to be ugly. I'm like, nah, he was ugly this entire series. Watch when that flashback happened and you see his true face.
Look, man, you can't tell somebody who grew up pretty they ugly now. It ain't happening.
Like I bet the reason why he has all these gnomes with their open brain is so that they are uglier than him.
Damn, that nigga self-conscious for real.
Hey, we gotta talk about something with the Nomu that I feel like gets kind of skated past. Because y'all realize John Chan and Mocha were probably babies, right?
Oh shit.
Yeah, there are a few young ones there, I think.
I thought
Mocha was a cat.
Like it's either. See, the problem is like animalistic tendencies can like pop up on humans now. So, but like think about it. The way I was looking at it is that one, all their organs get all jumbled up anyway. So them kind of being stuffed into a little ball is just kind of all works together. But like think about it. The way I looked at it is that the wing kid that Deku and Bakugo hung out with became a Nomu, right? Yeah. Like he was like a mid-tier, one of those like mid ones. So it's like he could have been like a kid still when he got captured. So like that's how you get like the mid-grade ones. You take children. And then if you think about like Kurogiri, who is like a high end, but really he seems more like on the same caliber as like the Nomu that attacked the USJ. Then like if you just look at him as like an upper end, because he's not about to show up and fold a bunch of people. He's just useful and has intelligence.
Yes.
So he feels more like an upper end that happens to be smart. That's made with a, you know, like a young adult, like late teenager. And then like all the high ends from what we know are made from the most battle hardened criminals, which means they all have to be veteran adults.
Yeah.
I think they're built for different purposes. I wouldn't all classify normal as just normal. Some are built to be just pawns in the scheme. Some are built for like it's just like on an army in the military. You have different, like you go train for different things. But in this stage is like, or in this field is like, all right, I got nomus to help me do my office work, nomus to go out in the field and slaughter, and nomus to go my regular shoulders, my regular nomu, my mid tiers, my low tiers. I got my high end special grade, like special ops nomus. Like, as you've been working as long as them, and as sick as that nigga Uchiko is, of course you start experimenting. It's like, okay, I'm gonna have them do this, these ones do that, etc., etc.
No, like, and so yeah, it's like, because the other thing is, like I said, he's based off a dude who would conduct experiments on pregnant women. Like he would vivisect pregnant women after intentionally injecting them with different diseases, so he could see the results in real time on the baby in the womb.
Damn, Kenjaku step outside. That's crazy.
Like, yeah, that's the kind of stuff that like the Shiro Ishii was on when, you know, he was running that compound, and that's the basis. Like you saw the side shot when you watched the video, the same mustache and Coke bottle glasses. So why would I assume Ujiko's above experimenting on babies and turning them into like the Nomu, especially when you think about like,
He's not above that.
You gotta realize something. There's only one way you get a grandson. You gotta have a kid, nigga. The fuck? You gotta have one kid. You gotta have a kid, and that kid has to have a kid. Therefore, you're a grandchild. You don't just adopt a grandchild. Like you don't just go out and be like, hey.
Yeah, but you could adopt a parent that already has a grandchild, then you have a grandchild.
Yeah, there's like no like legal drop off to where you can't adopt someone. I think.
No, I'm not saying he can't adopt someone. I'm just saying like you don't just go adopt someone. Like I want to adopt them as my grandchild. Like they can like the fuck, nigga. You adopt them as a child. You don't adopt them as like specifically. I want them to be my grandchild. Like nigga, what? They gonna look at you like you lost your mind. You go to what Saya said that, you know, that makes sense. Like you adopt a child and then they have the grandchild, but like you don't just jump this.
No, but you could also adopt an adult that already has a child, and you would basically immediately adopt the grandchild too, because
yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. Like your point, like that would make some sense, but like you don't just go skip the whole step and just get the grandchild.
Hey, well, I mean, at the end of the day, like, okay, one of the biggest mysteries of life, who'd Ujiko pipe? That's not that confusing, to me at least. Because, all right, here's how I look at it. Back when he was like 50-something, you know, it was like, hey, you bugging, bro. Paranormal singularity theory, get out of here. Whack. So then he like runs away disgraced. Off of one, picks him up, you know. All of a sudden, you know, it's 10, 15 years later, and he just got sugar daddy vibes. You know what I'm saying? Like he with the man with the Lambo, you know, pulling up. And he's an established doctor in the inverse. Like he's known as like this guru of medicine. That's like, so like all of a sudden other doctor bitches be like, hey yo, he got that medicinal dick. Let me see what he can do. And then boom, you get a grandson eventually.
Great. Can we talk about Detnerot?
Oh yeah, them niggas.
Because I just for one, I just have to say that they're just making money out of trash now. They're just taking, we're now selling a nail gun. It has a bit more oomph to it. It's just a nail gun, and they probably make a horrendous amount of money from this. And I just wonder, can't they do anything against Detnerot? Because I mean, at this point, it's pretty much proven that they work with villains. That their whole leadership is all villains, and they are supporting selling support items to villains. Can't they, lock them down somehow?
So I think the way that Detnerat, like this Detnerat thing is worked out is that if you remember, they were like, hey guys, we're going to start selling hero course items. Woo! But that was back in December. So we've had like 3 or 4 months now where, and like that, so like the big raid was done in March. So you had at least 3 months for people to be like, maybe I will check out some Detnerat objects. And some of those were still on the shelf. And while all this was going down, like people were like running to the store buying Detnerat hero course items.
So you mean that the whole these whole villains that just escaped that wouldn't have been able to buy them before, they could have just stolen them?
Some of the villains would just like go to like stock warehouses or whatever, and like have like, because obviously some of the Detnerat people underground would be distributing too.
Yeah.
So you'd have like underground distributors plus so like really as long as the underground distributors haven't been caught yet, that's all they need, because they'll still have access to the tech, they'll still know how to make it, they'll still be able to do what they need to do. And so like even if you get the main company out, it don't matter. And even if they like the main company is closed down, like the technology that's already out in the streets is enough. Like,
yeah, let me address something too, because don't worry, they don't need to make money. Making money isn't the objective anymore. Money doesn't matter at this point. What the commission did, what the commission did was set themselves up. They work with Detnerat and try to keep Redestra occupied. What they didn't know was that the Redestra they're working with was a clone set up by Twice. So they got fooled, and they played themselves by putting the Detnerat gear on the street so they could keep an eye on Redestra and them. They played their own selves and shot themselves in the foot with that. So now all this gear is already on the street. And then you have the advisors that already know all this shit. They're up in the upper echelon of the rank. And they already probably had they were all over Japan already in different bases. So like they probably already had Detnerat already had their hand in the underground market. Just because the above market goes away, the underground market probably rises to the top, especially in times like this. So that's probably like the black market. They was already on the black market prior to right in NBA. So this is like what? Like NBA was in December. We're in like down in April. They making moves on top of moves on top of moves since then. So like they was building their cars and learning how heroes operate and doing test runs out in the field and getting data and all this, that, and the other back. Because the data wasn't going just one way. Hawks wasn't just getting information. Hawks was providing information for them too. Because that's what Skeptic said to Slide and Go. He was like, yeah, nigga, but you think you ain't shit. Hawks is getting us intel from the inside. They wasn't just getting played one way the entire way. It was going both ways. Hawks
of course. I just wonder about if they shut it down, because the thing is, of course, you can't shut down the underground market, whatever. But at this point, it's like it's an official company. Everybody knows where all these support items come from, and everybody knows that there are villains at the head of this company. So just, I wouldn't want them to shut it down and kind of mention it somewhere that it's shut down.
I mean, but we already know it's shut down because Detnerat wouldn't need to sell any more gear like in the streets. Like they just need to hand it out more so. Because who's gonna stop them really? That's what the advisors are doing. Because that's what the advisors are doing right now. They're getting more gear out onto the street because they know where to get the stuff from and all the plans and stuff like that. Because they already planned when the chaos happens. They at least the plan was, at least high end was all over, make chaos go crazy, and then when laws become the rules don't matter anymore, then you have Redestra and Hanabata use his political influence, and Redestra use his friend like, yo, liberation, you guys got the weapons, fight for yourselves. And he told that to the hero commission lady before she died and his clone died. He was like, now the seeds of destruction already been sown. Now when they don't have your heroes to depend on, they can look for themselves to defend themselves. Because you see, it's been long enough so that they're starting to get the modified the gear themselves. Because you seen the regular civilians doing that shit themselves. Like back with Shindo and them, they was like they had their own gear that was rusted up and beat up and shit.
I wonder what Detnerat's stock value is.
God knows.
The company is probably dissolved, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. I just want to if there was mentioned somewhere, or if there maybe could be mentioned somewhere, that if the company is officially, unofficially, whatever, officially dissolved.
I mean, because they shouldn't
be at work. They shouldn't be working anymore. Yeah, but just because their leaders are in prison doesn't mean that the company vanishes suddenly.
Everybody involved is basically in jail, essentially.
Like that's the big issue here is that To that same degree, though, like we now also have to say, because they did mention straight up the Hearts and Mind Party got dissolved. So we know that the political party for the Hearts and Mind Party got dissolved. Dissolving Detnerat is likely going to take, just like in the real world, it's going to take a lot more. Because you can shut down a political party and be like, nah, you're a terrorist group. That's done. But with like Detnerat, you have all these factories, you have all this property. So like, and in addition to that, instead of Detnerat getting dissolved, more than likely they would
working law, working rights.
Right.
Like,
so like,
what about the employees that didn't know anything was going
right.
on?
So you have all this like legal stuff. So I think that's why Horikoshi specifically mentions the Hearts and Mind Party was dissolved, but he can't be like, well, Detnerat was just wiped out, because that's not how it works.
Yeah, because the Hearts and Minds Party follows one person. That's like a political thing. Like there's a campaign for one person preaching one thing. So that guy is gone, you know, it kind of trickles down. While Detner has an entire fucking mass expansion company that was dealing art in regular clothes. Then they recently expanded to hero clothes, and then it boosted even more when they was working together.
Not to mention, like, thanks to the whole nature of investors and lobbying and all that other stuff, you know, Detner has politicians in their pocket. Yep, shareholders.
I mean, Anabata was literally an example of that.
Yeah.
Like they mentioned that they were affiliates of the Hearts and Mind Party, which is a very real thing with political parties. Like you'll have one certain sect of like, let's say conservatives, well, they'll have a group that's connected to another group that agrees with their point of view in that party.
Mm-hmm.
So just because the specific Hearts and Mind Party is dissolved doesn't mean that their allies, which they're directly quoted in 297 as allies, aren't going to exist. They're still going to exist, and they're still going to be considered valid parties.
Yep. Also, while we're discussing Detnerat, we got to take a moment and get Gorillas, because that also leading it company, Feel Good Inc. board member.
Oh,
Skeptic in the win. Because I was thinking about this when Sayers brought it up. You know, I wanted to double check the number real quick, so I pulled up the page, and it was 116,516 people. So I'm like, man, yeah, there's definitely some of those people just like snuck off and went about their day. I'm gonna need y'all to drop them likes. We had 24 with 130 people. That's wild to me.
Yeah, wild. Y'all bugging. Y'all, all right, Pons will coming. He gonna get on your ass.
And he gonna be in the sombrero. Probably not, but you know. But yeah, like you had Shueisha, like come on, like you had all these things set up, and then so Shueisha is gonna get targeted more than likely. All these companies will get looked at, but if I'm being honest, the government doesn't even have time to be trying to do all this stuff.
Thank you. I was gonna say that to say yes too. Actually, I was like, I understand your point, Sayers, but at the same time, they have more important stuff to worry about, because it's like Deadline isn't what functioning like it was before. Like they had, that's like a paperwork thing. They can't just bust in there and beat everybody ass. Meanwhile, you got fucking God knows how many convicts still on the street causing havoc all over Japan. Like they are like, and then you got civilians fighting the convicts and causing even more problems than they fucking had before. So it's like they just down bad. Like it's like, where do we focus our attention?
They ain't down bad. They're just down atrocious.
Oh God. Wavering my ass.
Yeah, Silvers, you trying to pull up?
Oh boy, get your ass in.
This is a waiver you can't co-sign.
Silver,
Okay, this shouldn't have been as funny to me as it is. Put in office, leave me alone.
Yeah, Silvers, get your ass in.
That's some office humor right there.
That's why the waiver you can't co-sign. So I guess I'll dive into why. Well, for those y'all, wait. You ready?
Because what I wanted to talk about with like Feel Good Inc. and all these other companies is that ultimately, as you can see, the humans are straight up blaming, like everybody's blaming the heroes instead of being like, wow, a really organized company, like several major companies. And
right. And the political party that we voted for.
So, and there's a certain lack, and I love this because there's a certain lack of self-awareness that has consistently pervaded hero society. And that's why like I hate the fact that people are like, well, like I'm like, oh, maybe we should use the term culture just so you guys understand it better, so like you can feel better about it. But like, look at like Shigaraki's story in a nutshell just reflects so much of what's happening right now when he was a kid. Everybody sees this little boy and then they're like, whatever. And to the degree that like some people speculate that the old lady who saw Shigaraki walk in the streets was the Todoroki family chef because they look similar. I wouldn't be surprised if they were, because Horikoshi, like we just saw with Twice's boss being recycled, likes to reuse these characters in this fashion. How fitting would it be that somebody whose job was to take care of children was so lacking in self-awareness that they were just like, well, I'm not getting paid to take care of this kid. Whoop, I'm out. Like, what? That's the extent of your humanity? That's how far it goes?
What also makes that idea far more valid is that in this chapter, we have Twice's boss.
Right, that's what I want to say, Josh. Yeah.
Demanding the heroes to take accountability when he himself was the one who created this mess of Twice in the first place. Right. And this frail attempt to save his company.
Right, that's what I love, because essentially, especially with this comparison between this boss and right next to the panel with Endeavor, it's just they are all responsible, all of them, to some degree, and the only one taking responsibility is Endeavor.
Well, and that's kind of the irony, is that people will, because everybody put all their stock in heroes, and they're like, all right, cool, like hero stocks are strong. This is where I'm invested. They got this. I'm gonna go eat a cheeseburger. Peace. And like, then they were like, oh no, things aren't going how I want. Heroes got this. Thank you. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, 100,000 people got together and did bad stuff. So fuck you guys for not being able to take on a giant force that was like unreasonably large and hard to like calculate for. And it's like, it's kind of like when people talk about fights in like manga or an anime, or like they power scale, and they're like, well, he lost, so he's way weaker. He's totally garbage. Like that character's trash.
Yes. I got. Before we go off that tangent, I got a point I want to make real quick. All right. There's a speech I want to read. This is exactly what I was talking about comedy. You heroes pretend to be society's guardians. For generations, you pretended not to see those you couldn't protect and swept their pain under the rug. It's tainted everything you built. I'm sure police are heroes, or somebody can help you. That means your system's all rotten from the inside with maggots crawling out. It all builds up little by little over time. You've got the common trash all too dependent on being protected, and the brave guardians who create the trash that need coddling. It's a corrupt, vicious cycle. Everything I've witnessed, this whole system you built, has always rejected me. Now I'm ready to reject it. That's why I destroyed. That's why I took this power for myself. Simple enough, yeah. I don't care if you don't understand. That's what makes us heroes and villains. This entire time, these niggas play dumb and ignorant, which is why I co-sign what the villains are doing. I don't co-sign the methods and reality, but once again, they brought this shit on themselves. They have brought this on from the start.
Been saying this from the start, that all these people, they're just all responsible. Not everybody's responsible for like everything big, but they all have like this tiny bit of responsibility. Some more than others.
You know what? Shout out to Sayya's favorite family. Shout out to all the Todorokis that said that bum ass not swole coming together to admit they all had a part that they could have did something a little bit better, and not all the blame is solely focused on Endeavor because he decided to lay his hands on people and be a little bit more aggressive. You have a choice to take the child and leave. You can do that. Like, Atsuo, you could have been an actual brother instead of framing like you were besties, and then we get the truth that you wanted to play when you wanted to play, but when it came time to hear somebody's real emotions, you didn't want to go through that depth.
I mean, realistically, at least in the Japanese court system, it would have been an extremely hard case. But I guess if we're gonna count in terms of like a 1% chance or something, I guess she could have tried it. Yeah.
and my thing is that, like, okay, Dobby wasn't exactly preventable from a macro societal standpoint that we know of.
Yeah, that's a family issue.
But I will
Shigaraki,
also say that, like we talked about, the environment of passing things on to your first son, you know, you're supposed to take up like the burden, You got to take over the family business, kid. Like that whole cultural aspect is to a certain degree a part of this. And the fact that his dad specifically was a hero, you know, like you put these expectations on people, like, or like look at Bakugo. Everybody's like, well, he's really mean and always telling people he's got to be number one. But you also told him he has to be number one. You told him that.
It's also, for example, in while Toya's whole issue is mostly a family issue, there's also this one part in the flashbacks where he's like, even when I go to school, everybody just talks about heroes. Yeah. So it's not like this is just 100% family. Of course,
that's
with Toya, the family is the main issue, but it's also everybody expects him to be a hero, even outside of family.
Like if Endeavor had never mentioned, son, be a hero.
Yeah. He still
and
wants to be in.
And let's just say, like, as Toya was growing up, like he started playing with the fire. He was like, hey, Dad, can you teach me a little? And Endeavor was like, oh, sure. I'll help you do that a little bit. You know, you don't have to. Like, let's just say Endeavor was Mr. Likeable, understanding dad. He still, like, Toya still would have ended up upset. Yeah, he still would have wanted to. His dad was number 2.
I mean, look at Deku. Deku has no hero in his immediate circle of people that he's around to, and he is absolutely obsessed with being a hero, even despite not having a quirk at this age.
Yeah.
What also made it worse is because he was because he lacked a quirk, he was essentially you saw this in like the earlier chapters, like the kids made fun of him. And I remember there was one panel where even like the teachers joined in, and what I found very interesting was that like bullying in Japan, it's different than like in America in that it's far more of a collective effort. So you're not really going to see a case of like individual bullying, but it's going to be as a group. So when like that entire group joined in, like even the teachers, I found that very startling.
Like, yeah, because like that's why I said like people like literally the second Bakugo got his quirk in class, she was like, wow, that quirk is great.
Hero.
You're gonna be a hero. Like what? Like
yeah, or the other way around with Shinso, like, boy, your quirk is really great for this and this. You would be a great villain.
Like, right. Like it's like, I bet you evil. Why? Because you have an evil power. Huh? Like that's not like that's what's kind of funny is like to a certain degree what that does highlight is that lesson of it's your quirk, not his. That doesn't like people don't understand any of that. Like as a culture, they don't see it apparently. Like it because they like especially because the Japanese society is a lot more collective focused. They don't see it as like to me, people with good quirks are always going to be stuck hearing about how they should be heroes. And they'll never escape that. Because like imagine if you had Bakugo's quirk and you were like, yeah, but I kind of want to be a gardener.
Yeah, it's right. It's kind of a perversion of this whole if you have the power and you don't use it, it's your fault that bad things happen. It's kind of a perversion of that, right? Yeah. Because if all these people are born with powers, they're essentially like a societal duty to use it for the sake of society.
And so it's like,
well, not necessarily, not 100% necessarily. Just because you have power doesn't mean, just because you have the ability to do something doesn't automatically make it your responsibility to do something.
No. But I mean, if you take the saying from Spider-Man that if you have the power, that's your responsibility. If you take that around, then yes, it is.
Do not spit that crap at me. Do not spit the Spider-Man quote at me. Much like Peter Parker in Spider-Verse, I'm tired of hearing it.
No, I'm just saying it's a perversion of it.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. But where I disagree, and like I don't know which one of y'all said it earlier, but I do agree with the viewpoint that the villains are coming from, but I don't agree with the means. In this case, the ends do not justify the means. But
No, absolutely.
But at the same
I'm not
time-
on the side of the villains.
But at the same time, the expectation and it's kind of fucked up from both sides because that moral gray area kind of makes this sound contradictory because I agree with the villains and their pursuits, but I don't agree with their means. But at the same time, you can't put that kind of responsibility on people just because they have the ability to, but also at the same time, they did build this society to a certain extent to where these people expect something of them. But when they over expect and the heroes underperform, then that's where all of this controversy comes into. But for the most part, I don't think that you should put so much like effort and stock into hoping that these people come to the rescue just because they can. Just because they have the ability to does not mean that they will always be there. They can't be everywhere at once, and a lot of times they aren't going to be there in the nick of time or on time every single time. Like Syndrome said in Incredibles, in a world full of special people, in a world full of supers, no one is. So in this case, what is the percentage, like
80%.
80%.
And keep in mind that the 20 is skewed.
The train is
towards old
probably all
people.
80 and above
Yeah.
years old.
Yeah, and with 80%
So like,
of the
it's
population,
more like
born with
3% are
quirks.
like children that are like actually quirkless. So
Yeah, with
Very few.
80% of the population being born with quirks, it can't always be my responsibility to come out to help you. Even in this quirk society, self-defense is still a thing. It's just when you go to the extent of pulling out super gadgets in order to defend the entire neighborhood, and you're causing more damage than what the trained professionals who are actually trained to keep the damage to a minimum, then that's where the issue comes in. And I feel like that's what a lot of people fail to understand. Please don't pay attention to my room. I'm looking at this and this shit looks bad. I'm sorry. Oh my god.
I have to say, I absolutely agree.
Hold on.
with
We
that,
we got a super chat.
Yeah, I do want to hit the super
Alright,
chat
alright.
real quick.
It's your back.
Look, set up. And we got Ponzu, so he gonna get on y'all ass. Joseph Ciola in here. One thing the series does so well is demonstrate the systemic rot of the hero society. Correct. Now let's get back on it. Ponzu,
Yes.
speak. We've been waiting for you.
Okay. Sorry, guys, that I came late. I had some basketball issues that I had to resolve.
You had to take some niggas' ankles. He said somebody tied him over the court and snatched their ankles.
Yeah, but I had to put some 3 points on some niggas, some Russian niggas. I had to do it. I had to do this. So, this chapter I love what Horikoshi was doing. He was showing that the reflection that we had here, even that fans have about the whole Shigaraki and All For One stuff. The heroes have the same thing. They don't know what they're not sure that they are in the right or not. You know what I mean? That's why Hawks was the one saying like, yeah, do you really think that he has hatred against his brother? So like, about I always talk about, that All For One is just a guy who wants his brother back, his little brother. You know what I mean? So it goes in that way, I will say. But it is really interesting that they are like in the same gray area as us. It shows that, it makes them human too. You know what I mean? And that we don't know who to trust. And next to this, I love what we get at the end with the women of East. She came there with a shotgun from her elbow. Yeah, from her elbow.
Her name is Lady Deathstroke, by the way, Ponzu.
Lady Deathstroke.
Just real quick, at the end of this chapter,
Her name is Lady Wilson.
That's the lady that's the woman that we saw breaking out of
Tartarus,
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And we saw my nigga overhaul without arms, I don't know what he's doing there. I have questions. So maybe they don't work for All For One. I'm not sure. I don't know what's happening. So I can't wait to see what's happening next week. Or do we get in chapter next week?
Yes,
Yes,
May
you do.
16th.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
there's no
So
break.
so that's good. So we get the situation of the society, how they react on stuff. Typical My Hero Academia stuff. Really great to have that people are still don't believe in the heroes anymore. Even if we saw Endeavor putting some Horikoshi just went off in the beginning with the chat with the hold up and everything, and you get Endeavor doing his stuff like the flame arrow. Damn man, the panels the art was too great. So yeah, I can't wait to see what's happening next. So you have my point. That wasn't literally a 9 on 10 for me because it showed Horikoshi working. He worked on the details like it's not confirmation. People, if they take that chapter as a confirmation that all for one want to change bodies, that's really not the good idea. That's not. They're just talking like us. We are talking about. That's literally us talking about this stuff, not being sure about stuff like this. So yeah, I can't wait to see what's happening next. So yeah, you have my view right now. And what do you think about that, guys? Because I'm not sure how the things went for
I
you.
think we talked about it, that nobody, I think, believes that they are on the right path with their assumption
Yeah,
that he just wants to take over the body.
To me, we basically agree that Horikoshi having them say this is more than likely him telling us that that's not the plan.
Yeah.
Like I said it. They think Off One is also evil, pure rotten Frieza type evil.
Yes.
And then
Oh no, according to Little Light Studios, Frieza is Jesus.
I mean, maybe. The thing is, I could imagine that
but thing is
maybe
that
the real plan is even worse. It's just they don't know it.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
it's,
definitely.
but it's so they just don't want to believe that Off One has a real successor.
Yes.
That nobody was thinking Off. Listen, before the war, nobody was really thinking the theory was plausible that like he actually wanted Shigaraki's body. It wasn't until the Vestige stuff came into play that the theory got more prominent. Deku walked in at the wrong time while Shigaraki's fighting for control. He doesn't know the true relationship that Shigaraki and Off One have, and then he had to learn to hit the entire history like a little bit later on too. But he doesn't have all the context. He just seen Tenko, the child inside Shigaraki, so he's like, and then he's hearing all the other users like he's groomed him to be this evil. He doesn't have all the context. They're just talking out their ass. That's it. They just think they know. They don't really know.
The only thing that they can speak on is like the bare bones what they've seen, and all they've seen was the dark side of whatever Shigaraki is doing.
It's just like Dobby shit. We have all the context. They don't.
That's why that you get the voice of Hawks who's trying to show is it really what he did, does he need a hatred? You know what I mean? So he's asking questions like he feels that something is missing. That's the point. That's why if he didn't had like the Hawks talking, I would have agreed to some people to say, he wants to change bodies, but right now, the fact that Hawks is questioning even their own way of thinking, it's showing that that even the story doesn't give us doesn't give us everything. So that's freaking great. And yeah, and what I wanted to say is like people, we are like about more than 130 people. You know what to do. Like the stream, show your love. We are like 63 likes. Let's get to the hundreds.
Hey,
you know what to do.
Hey, God damn. So you know
so
that
much
you know
better.
that Deku's notebook account.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes they use some words to be different. Like they say that the Japanese text said this. So to insult Endeavor, the word they actually used was, all right, listen, I ain't even gonna fucking try to pronounce this shit because my black ass cannot. So about some Yukubu Yugami, and it translates to gods of plagues, and that's what the insult they were hurling at Endeavor.
Of plagues.
Yeah, that's what they were hurling at.
Oh no, that's painful as name.
So that was to represent how they viewed the heroes in this time period.
God who came to bring illness and
this is
misfortune to the people, which is apparently how
Yeah, if you have Noragami, if you watch, if you know the anime Noragami, they talk about these gods. Damn, bro.
Yeah, so he was.
Also, I gotta say, I love Endeavor, but I also really appreciate this Endeavor bashing in the public. It's just it touched my heart in a good way.
I think it's fun.
Anarchy, you gonna talk about how we're wavering?
Wait. Because I really love the idea of them using the term God of Plagues because for those of you who watched the Shinrikyo video, do you remember
Oh shit.
what the cultural phenomenon that set up for that cult to be formed was called?
Wait, I remember that was something with about no, the action that they did, the attack was
No.
like,
Do you remember what there was a cultural phenomenon that is the only reason this was even able to happen? It was when Japan, after World War II, they stopped banning all other religions and they finally started letting other religions in. There was a specific code, there was a name for this event and this cultural phenomenon. Does anybody remember the name of it?
No, I don't
Drawing a
remember.
blank.
Rush Hour of the Gods.
Oh damn.
Which is what the heroes are. They are a replacement for people's faith. They are what people believe in. After the fall of All for One, the appearance of All Might, the super American symbol, aka the nuke that wiped out Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the advent of the era of the Rush Hour of the Gods began within the verse of My Hero Academia.
Damn.
That's what that is. So them being called the God of the Plagues is them spinning on that whole Rush Hour of the Gods concept that happened in Japanese history. At this point, he's slapping you in the face with these cultural references that just people who don't know this won't remember.
No, he's slapping you in the face with a wavering. You know what I'm saying?
So yeah, this is another reference to the history. And so that whole cult leader thing that I told you guys, yep, is here. This is it.
Smash, we get it. You have a history degree. You don't gotta rub it in our face.
Hey, I never went to college.
No. That's the thing about it is like it's to show how deep Horikoshi wrote his stories, and I really respect that as a writer myself. I'm studying he's an example for me. Right now I'm studying books for my story, like about African classics history. And when I see stuff like this, you can just admire stuff like this, literally. You know what I mean? So yeah, I love that.
It's crazy how this nigga could put this much work to this series, but get doubted every single week. See me, he far too nice for me. If that was me and y'all was talking shit and the way, oh, he better do this, he better do that, this, that, and the other. If this don't happen, then I'll slap the shit out of some of y'all talking to me like y'all crazy. Like,
I mean,
y'all gonna check, like niggas gonna check me right in my series. And hard questions don't do this. Oh, it better not be this. And when he gonna do this? And when but who the fuck are you talking to? I will slap the shit out of you.
That same kind of mindset is what drove Kubo off of Twitter.
Yo.
Yeah, because
it drove Kubo crazy.
Well, I'll be dropping videos.
That final moment. You remember what the final thing that got Kubo off Twitter was, right?
Was it Byakuya?
Wasn't it the fighting with Byakuya?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He killed Byakuya. People started sending him death threats and all of this, and in some cases he was responding to it in a real professional way, trying to come to an understanding with his community.
Oh, wow, shit me, boy. That's what.
I was happy that he was dead. Literally, I thought to myself, consequences, let's go. When he came back alive, I thought to myself, why? You're not
once I heard him, like, that's one of those things that, like, when people are like, man, it was bad writing, I'm like, hey, leave my nigga alone, because
he did this
what he was going through. Like,
yeah, I didn't know about that stuff. I was shook when I learned that they sent him death stress. That was something that I needed.
You want to know the biggest sin to ever come out of Bleach and that whole thing? What? Rukia x Renji. It should have been Ichigo. Sad times. Dark times.
Man is stuck on that shit. No.
Dark times. I will never let that go. There was more romantic development there than Otohime had in the entire series.
Rukia and Ichigo is the Zutara of Bleach.
You are aware that Rukia is dead and Ichigo is not, right?
You watch your mouth.
But you know that Rukia doesn't really have a real body, right? She's a ghost, and Ichigo.
I mean, neither did Ichigo's father, and yet Ichigo exists.
Hey, that's different. I mean, literally in this case, because he had to get because there was a whole bunch of stuff that went into that, bro. Like there was the whole thing with
he had to be tied to her. He had to be tied to her, and he had to stay in this world. Kisuke made a special body. Eat all the dicks, okay? They could have made it work. Renji was about to let this girl die for his job.
Look, bro, Renji, but did he do that? No, Renji, because
Because-
Renji felt like
because the
Renji felt like he
dude-
got in the way.
Because the dude who actually loved her came in and paralleled his parents. Literally paralleled his parents. It's the same scene. Smash.
Hey man, listen, listen, man. I'm real with you.
Dang. Are
Kubo
you still stuck
Kubo
in
is a mature man. Oh, you got to
That's
switch.
I'm sorry about that. This is a
It's cool.
Hero Academia.
I'm just saying this, bro. You know, Kubo real mature. You know what I'm saying? I respect
Yes.
Kubo from a standpoint because y'all sending me death threats. Guess what?
I'm good enough.
I'm gonna eat.
No, his
I'm
biggest-
gonna go to Chipotle. I'm gonna eat the fattest meal possible, and I'm gonna take a dump. And I'm gonna wipe my ass with all y'all goddamn death threats. And I'm gonna send a picture back on Twitter and say, "Take that, bitch." The other ones I ain't gonna wipe my ass with. I'm gonna burn them.
No, I think
Nah,
one of
you
Post
know what
that
I
bitch
would
on
do?
Twitter, and I
think
want
I'd be
y'all
like-
to pull up.
one
What's
of the
gonna
biggest
happen?
last draws for him was when the I think it was like a gay porn star dressed up like Kubo and like did a scene.
Okay,
Oh.
you know what?
Oh yeah.
Nigga, what?
Yeah, they said that
What?
was the super chat
What?
from,
I was not ready for this. What is it?
Nah, bro, like me,
Smash
I would have been
Bros.
like, "What's your favorite?" I'm like, "You know what? I'm sorry. I'll give your favorite a great moment to make up for this." And then all the toxic people would have started listing off their favorites, and I would have given them the wackest deaths possible.
Nigga got his finger cut off. He died from blood loss.
No, they getting the Kawina treatment. They falling downstairs.
I'm hoping that the Bleach anime coming back marks like the one of the first ever. Yeah, the manga ended, but the anime is the canon ending. I want Kubo to fix. I want Kubo to fix everything he did wrong with the ending of Bleach because we were in the middle of that last of the last arc in the big fight, and then Shonen Jump just said Bleach is ending in 4 chapters. Like what? How?
How that was weird. I remember that. I read out that.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, you are. He nuked all of his Quincy's in the middle of their fights. Some of them was actually winning.
Yeah, no. When it was overpowered, he was killing everybody, man. The miracle guy. Damn, that was weird.
No, because he's Oswaldin, and then like you had to dodge it because it was a light speed attack confirmed, basically, and basically only a couple like the highest tier ones could dodge it, and they still lost the Quincy equivalent of their Bankai in the process. So,
Oh yeah, what happened to that miracle dude, Gerard?
oh, he got clapped.
Yeah,
I
snacks.
remember him being OP.
Renji clapped him.
Wasn't
Like,
it
you
Kenpachi?
killed the
Wasn't it
guy,
Kenpachi
and
that
then it like
fucking
a
folded
new
that nigga?
power?
Didn't Kenpachi fold that nigga?
No, the miracle. Oh wait, no, you're talking about the hero dude with the shield and stuff.
No, I'm talking.
I think
about
it was
Miracle.
who was it?
I swear to God, Gerard was the miracle. But I swear he was the nigga that turned giant.
Yeah,
He just
yeah.
would not-
that-
he would not stop.
No,
He
that
would
was
not stop.
I think that was Toshu. I think Hitsugaya finished him off.
No. I remember they didn't take it. They weren't able to completely take him down. And
Yeah,
then
no,
they thought they had him, and Kenpachi came and bodied that nigga
Oh,
because he awakened his Bankai. I think at that point, and he went
Yeah.
fucking ballistic.
And his Bankai is just about being built different.
Yes. That was thanks, though. That was
No.
really. When I pressed
Hitsugaya had one of the most bullshit ass pull Bankais I've ever seen.
Nah.
The entire series, he was going, once this last snowflake breaks, that's it, I'm done. And then the final arc, he was like, the last snowflake broke. Oh, that's it, you're done. I never said once this one breaks, I'm done. Yes, you did.
So like that was
did.
okay. That was like the ultimate bait and switch. He was like, okay, secretly though, the real reason I haven't been doing this is because I hate randomly aging up. And I'm like,
What?
fangirls across the world were like,
Yes, they cried.
know
They
what-
cried at that
nut.
moment.
Like,
Smash, you know my track record on, I don't know if I could say this, but on the Hinty, on nhinty.com, bro, the Bleach freaking dojins around that time blew the fuck up. It was scary. Terrifying.
like
Okay, guys. Okay,
But yeah,
guys.
back
Oh,
to
just got
my
that
hero.
Hero
censored.
Academia,
It
I
just got
apologize
censored.
about that. Rukia and Ichigo should have been the thing, But yeah, Hero Academia. Did anybody else? I don't know if y'all talked about this, but that was Twice as Cook, right?
No, that was
the boss. The boss. Yeah, that was Twice's boss.
Yeah. Twice's boss. Anybody else like shed a tear, like just looking at him?
Wow.
Hey, listen, Silver's case.
Twice his boss. What do you mean?
Silver's that go to the page was like 6, I think 5 or 6.
Page 4, bottom right panel. Those media folks said.
Yeah, that's literally Twice's old boss from his flashback.
No way.
I looked at that and went,
and completely not self-aware. It's just,
I looked at that and went,
frustrating.
you son of a bitch. You could have changed this.
Silvers, we are the
Standing there
same
waving
mind.
his anti-endeavor sign and just screaming at
Silvers. That's why you're my brother. We are the same mind. You know what I'm saying? Twice comes first. That's always.
Praise be to Twice.
Man, praise be to
I
Twice.
mean, if it wasn't for this guy, you know, Twice wouldn't have been homeless, then he wouldn't have resorted to crime, and then he
Hey man, listen, if we're gonna talk about root causality, it's really that bitch ass privileged ass nigga.
Time out. We got a super chat, and I did miss it because it didn't pop up in the big thing.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck?
So I'm addressing that now. Boom. Because you can always see your old super chats if you know where to go.
Yep.
One, this is from Cheese Peabody, which I actually really like that name. 1, 6 days until season 5. Yes, I've been enjoying season 5 a lot. A lot of people are hurt, but that's because some of those people said dumb things like, oh yeah, they'll cover all this in like 5 to 6 episodes. And I was like, ha, no, they won't. Everybody on here knows. Didn't I say it was like, we're not getting an NBA until at least 11 or 12 episodes in. Repeatedly, I tried to warn people.
Man,
I don't watch it.
I have to say, what I enjoy
watch...
most about the new season is just Vlad's support for his class.
It's just they made that shit funnier than it was before. I swear to God, like some people are funnier than they were before. Like,
and the thing is, with all this background class 1A complaining about his biased commentary, I get it, but like there are like 5 teachers up there on the platform, and all of them are rooting for 1A. Let Vlad root for 1B, please.
I remember Aizawa being unbiased.
No, Aizawa doesn't say much. For example, Midnight in that last fight where Momo lost against Kendo. Midnight was like, oh, Momo is growing. Kendo won that fight. Say something about Kendo, but no, we're complimenting Midnight and Momo now.
Hey man, that's her kids. She focused on her kids.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like because we spend so much time with 1A, the teachers have a much closer connection to all these 1A characters as far as we know. Like All Might cares most about Deku, and we know that when he talks about they've grown through hardship and stuff, he means 1A because 1B didn't grow through that much hardship. And so I like that Vlad is like supporting his class because the other teachers are mostly focusing on 1A.
I also like the fact that they added that scene where Mina was like, oh, look at you always knowing about Midoriya, huh? And then like Uraraka like sends her up in the air and then she just starts breakdancing. It's like, but so like they've been doing a lot of good stuff with this arc, if I'm being honest.
I mean,
like,
hey man, shouts out to how they did by Tokiyami Justice. They added more to his flashback. I was like, oh, see, this I can really fucking dig. You know what I'm saying? Giving best boy in class 1A.
I have to say,
but that meant you got to see more Hawks.
Already in the anime and still in the manga and still in the anime even more. His way to fly is just the most ridiculous, unsightly thing.
No, stop. That's creative. That's
creative.
It's creative.
I don't know what
she's
talking about.
So weird.
I just want my bed.
It's not weird. It's not weird. It's different.
Like,
wait.
Thank you,
so
Silvers.
many characters
like
there that can fly now.
Like he.
And we're making this big thing about Tokuyami, who is this bird-like person, finally being able to fly, and he flies so awkwardly.
The
design. So I'm glad we talked about Tokuyami right now because y'all realize that his end of series like final form is gonna be being able to control Ragnarok as a Black Abyss, right?
Yeah. You know, that's my second favorite character. So you already know I've been on what this nigga could do. People still don't talk about how he busted out of Fat Gum's fucking Fat, the first person ever. And Fat Gum been out in the field for like fucking 20 years.
Like,
and that's the first person ever did it.
if you looked
he
at like
was in
Black
those
Sabbath,
three.
for example, when he does it, the claws like shift and only like are really focused on like his head and his hands. So as time progresses, he's just gonna get better and better at like cloaking himself. Where I wouldn't be surprised if like we see him like just kind of like sprout the wings and like have the claws, and like we start seeing a little less of Dark Shadow like sticking out and more being attached, and then like using him for ranged attacks too. It's gonna be,
But it's just that's
his
something
speed
that I
too is
think in
crazy.
that episode became the most, something I became very aware of, is that there we have this bird-like character, and there are so many characters who can already fly, and we give him this huge arc about he finally learns how to fly. And like Deku can fly,
beautiful, though,
Bakugo
it's
can fly,
beautiful.
Uraraka can fly, and Deva can fly. So many characters can fly, and finally the bird learns how to fly. That's such a big thing.
That's the achievement, though. The
Yeah, I
one
know, but it's
you would expect
it just
to
hit me.
know how to
It just hit
fly.
me.
It's the
Hey, listen, with
flyest
all
bird
these people
finally
flying,
gets
I believe Horikoshi's been listening to too much R. Kelly.
this nigga.
Ooh.
Yo, if you listen to R. Kelly one more time, man, I'm gonna fucking throw your ass out.
It's like that's man. It's like the time you started singing "Trapped in the Closet."
I'm saying.
I was trapped in the closet.
Oh my god. No, but I do love. That's one of those things that I like, because it's kind of like the Deku Legs thing, where he's like, I've been so focused and thinking of my quirk as a thing that I use to fight with my fist, that, or like because All Might fought that way, that he didn't really think about like, nigga, you can kick people, you can elbow them, you can knee them, you can headbutt them. With as much force as you're capable of generating, you can probably like launch ranged bite attacks if you want.
I never really understood the punching people, because in most street fights you always want to hit them with your elbow. It's less fragile than your knuckles and
I
shit.
mean, he did it
Them
after
shit's
All
brick.
Might.
Yep. Hold on. They gave Ojiro so much respect in the preview. Ojiro does. So I'm looking forward to seeing the Kaibara versus
I didn't watch the
Ojiro
new
fight,
episode yet.
because I think it's gonna
Should have.
be
See the preview.
like, if they decide to, if they really feel like it, they can go really hard with that. Just
Yeah,
because it's
yeah.
just hand to hand
Yeah,
combat.
no, they in the previews they clearly went fucking like, I think somebody showed who did the animation for it, like in one of the previous seasons. That nigga, they gonna go ham on that shit. I can't wait, boy. They added extra scenes. I'm fucking gassed.
Hey, Joseph Ciola is going to be one of the most important pieces of My Hero advice you can ever get. Find someone who looks at you the way Deku looks at new quirk applications. That's love.
That's true love right there.
That's great.
What I want now for our boy Tokoyami is that he can control his shadow like freely, making shapes of them. That would be the coolest thing for me. If that happens, that will be. I can't wait to see him making a sword of shadow. That's the thing that I want him to
Hey
do.
man, listen, I need that too, bro.
Mhm.
And I need to go soon, I think.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Smack. I was just about to say I need to head out.
I'll give you final thoughts, Silvers. Go ahead. So what you gotta say.
Before I leave, this is a passage that I wrote immediately following the war. My brothers and sisters, let us bow our heads. For though the hour may strike 12, midnight has passed us on. And when the sun rises,
Oh, bastard!
Keep going, sir.
and
Keep
with the
going.
sun rising this coming morning, the light will never shine as bright. A great injustice has been dealt to us this day, and twice have we lost. And twice have we lost great souls on both sides of good and evil. And the greed of man who does not see this world as a collective, but as a weakness to be exploited. When it is a power to stand together as a million strong and not just all for one. We must celebrate the lives and not mourn the sacrifices of the heroes that have made us. And know some may have lost all of your might, but continue your service. Your fight may end. Know that your endeavor will never go in vain. Kids, embrace this morning and take in the dew and believe the light will shine at midnight again. Have a good one, everybody. And I hope. Amen. Praise be to Christ.
Praise be to Christ.
I'm gonna drop some Hail Horus in that chat for that.
Take it easy. Have a good one.
Likes, bro. We need
I
that
hope
likes,
y'all have a good one.
All right, so
See you soon.
You know what? You know what's one thing I always found kind of funny? For a hero named Midnight, she didn't even make it past noon.
All right, that's it. You on punishment. Shut your ass up. Shut your ass up. You sit in the corner and you shut your ass up.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yes, Andrew Lullivar. Thank you. That was like, this is one of the things that always bugged me about the idea that was the plan, because I've always said, All For One didn't decide he like was like, oh, I'm like fucked until after he got punched bald. So Shigaraki was adopted at the age of 5, 10 years before that fight.
Mm-hmm.
So it could not, it would not have made sense for it always to have been
That's
the
what
plan.
I'm telling to people
Because
too.
he wouldn't have needed it.
Yes, he was
Like,
on top of his strength.
And if I'm being honest, if we're being real honest, All For One, like we talked about it, this happy-go-lucky, arrogant dude, is if he's this cocky with like,
what does he need eyes for?
Like, why would he? You really think when Shigaraki was 5 on his mind was, you know, I'm probably gonna lose one day. Like, no, like that was never what All For One thought. All For One was never like, All Might fold me, bro. Like, come on now. He was like, another one? Yay.
I mean, maybe what would make sense is that he, after like, I don't know, so many years that he's been watching One For All grow, slowly getting stronger and stronger, that he realized that at least with the next person taking over, they would probably get stronger than him. So he should have to make some precautions. I don't think he planned for his body to get destroyed to the point where he would have to take over somebody else. That would be.
I mean, he already had foreseen this shit happening. He literally was talking about. He's like, yeah, I see where this gonna go. Like, let me go ahead and plan ahead so I can stop that. Like I said, the nigga, whatchamacall, All Might was asking like, why you? Why would you have a successor? You more than anybody, blah, blah, blah. He's like, this is why I got a successor. And like I said, I think All Might didn't want to listen to what the hell he had to say. I was like, all right, that shit on you, dog. That's not on me.
Yeah, because the other thing is that I'd sooner think All For One was like, yeah, I'm gonna die of old age, than he was like, I need to possess this kid's body.
Yeah.
Because like,
actually,
go.
I actually think it's maybe more likely that he actually really just wants the who said it just now in the chat, the brother replacement.
Yeah.
Like not putting his quirk somebody else and taking over, but just giving his brother's quirk to this kid and saying, you're my brother, and you're actually doing what I want because you have this hatred and are not a nice person.
Yeah, I think just like if Shigaraki looks like his brother and has One For All, he is his brother.
Mm-hmm. And like, I mean, the brother is inside of him, more or less. Yeah. So he is essentially his brother, even if the brother would be shackled to do something he doesn't want to do. But I mean,
because we know
that
like I gotta tell you to pause. He said he was inside him.
Oh, don't.
Oh, God.
He is.
I mean, I didn't invent this story. He is.
Oh no! But the thing about it is, like, the question is, what is the we know the name of the first one. His name was Yoroi Shigaraki. From what we know, that's his full name. That's his full name. No, the question. Yes.
You said what?
Yoichi. Yeah,
Yoichi, not Yoroi. Yoichi.
Yeah.
Yorichi. My bad.
Don't mistake that handsome boy, Yoichi with that old head barber Yoroi. Don't do that.
Yeah, because the name of the first user of One For All, that's
Yoichi.
Okay, Yoichi. So Yoichi, and we know that his first name will be Shigaraki because All For One said also that his name was Shigaraki, his family name. So the question is his name also to mourn, or so Tomura Shigaraki? It depends on what. If he because he said he's the new me. If his name is also Tomura Shigaraki, yeah.
No, it's not. It's not that. It's not that deep.
Hold on. I gotta address the super chat. Andrew Lullivar comes through once again. I put down my pizza rolls to say that these protests mean nothing because if they were really crumbling society, then they wouldn't feel safe enough to protest.
I mean, there is a small point there, and that is that these people, these whole protesters, they still feel a bit confident. That's true.
No.
They are not quite as desperate that they would go back to groveling to the heroes for protection, but quite that desperate.
So the issue here,
to combat that, they have gear on themselves. They don't need. You can.
Yeah, but they would have died. I mean,
no. They don't care about that. They need to rely on themselves. They no longer care about the heroes. We just seen that. They call them the plague. They call these niggas the plague. They don't care about them. They have the means to defend themselves. Whether it's causing more damage or not, that don't matter. We're on the outside looking in. They don't have a choice, and they don't care about the heroes anymore. People keep trying to like defend the heroes.
Seeing these civilians, it kind of reminds me of like, kind of like this overconfidence people have. Like, for example, like they'll see a sport, right? Like let's say football, and they'll say, I could play better than that guy. And then they try it, and then they get stomped out, and then they realize, oh, that dude was on like a way different level than me. I think they haven't reached that point yet. Like, how many times have you heard like some average dude saying like they could beat up this professional dude?
Yeah, I think the main issue is that it is incredible. This society is crumbling. I think that's quite clear. But it's also incredibly difficult to draw that. And I think that's why some people miss it. Because as long as there are still people on the street, it's not that bad. As long as there are still houses standing, it's not that bad. But I mean, he can't just draw a wasteland, because what we'd be talking about then in the story.
I will tell you what, because you are not in a society that is crumbling. It's not crumbled. There's something different. It's crumbling. So if you see it in that way, it's a process. While we are in the process that people, stuff is happening in the street. We see the city getting destroyed. We get villains everywhere. You know what I mean? So we are in a crumbling society. So the stuff from the past are still there, but they will become less. People can still react, to the stuff, because, when society is crumbling, we always try to keep the semblance of normality that we had before in our reality. So we will go protest. We will go doing like what we call it, like press conferences and stuff like this. You know what I mean? They will keep doing this, because till the moment it will attain a moment that they can't do it anymore. Like we just see Shigaraki taking the whole city with one hand and destroying everything. You know what I mean? That will be the end of the society. For the society. You know what I mean? So I don't want to talk anymore.
Back off, Tarnish. Yeah.
Hold on. So one of the things that I really did want to address with this topic, though, is that what ultimately happens is that people feel like I have to do something. So in turn, like, even if it's not useful, people, just think about how many people, right, like get on Twitter and they're like, I tweeted about 12 social issues today and I kicked a puppy, but I'm a good person because I tweeted about social issues. Or think back to, like, for example, in the hip hop community, there was a controversy, like a slight controversy last year because No Name decided to try to like passive aggressively slight J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar because they make songs and they talk about the Black struggle. And she was like, you got all these people out here making songs, but they haven't tweeted about these topics. It's like,
yeah, I know.
Why did they tweet it? That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
Oh yeah, God, I hate that.
So like, think about that. Someone with a platform with like hundreds of thousands of followers decided that complaining about somebody who was actively going to protest, who had been trying to make their music, whose entire career has been towards like staring towards like woke stuff. And then they got mad because they were like, well,
do they not know like how the song All Right was used during 2015?
Exactly. So it's like, let's completely, so if people will put their own tweets, like there's people out there that are like, yeah, they not tweeting. Like, think about it. Average civilians, people who are not rich, who do not make as many financial donations, people who do not do what J. Cole did. And for example, gave, like literally bought his childhood home and was allowing women who were single mothers to live in it for free for like a year plus at a time, making these contributions on a personal level to the community, getting people out of jail, all that stuff. but because he didn't tweet, he wasn't enough.
Yeah. There are people who actually think
That's
that
these people.
Twitter is real life, and as long as you don't do it on Twitter, you're not doing it.
So that energy, that's what's happening here. To them, oh well, it's not perfect. You suck, you failed, and I can do it better, and I'm doing more. Me complaining is worth more value than you as a hero doing this stuff. Man.
Yeah.
I don't see any of them complaining, getting these convicts off the street though.
Exactly. Like you're literally complaining because I don't like you, even though you did what I want you to do. Like it goes back to that news conference where
Very convenient situation.
Right. It goes back to the news conference though. Where you remember the girl was like, blah, blah, blah. And then like Endeavor's like, well, then she basically was about to be like, well, then I guess you better arrest everybody. And then he was like, that's what the plan is. And it's like, oh, yeah.
I'm going to sit back down.
Yeah. Like you see, it was just like, oh, I'm dumb. And it's like, yes, you are. So
I always said I was a reporter for the real estate channel.
What?
Because of the focus on property. Think about it. The first thing she says is, do you know how many people lost their homes in a week?
Oh, so yeah.
Like putting the focus on like the casualties, then that's where I came with my theory that she was actually just like a reporter from like the real estate channel.
Just somebody who was complaining for the sake of money. Yeah, I see it.
Something that also kind of goes in the direction is that in this chapter, they are like, the whole grieving families were on TV. Did you even watch that? No, I was in the car driving from case to case trying to bring in villains. No time to watch that.
Oh, I was
actually, hold on, I'm about to step in now. Because you know what?
I was out there to be streets.
I'm about to back up what Tarnish said. Sayas continues to downplay the civilian stupidity. Sayas and multiple other people actually, Sayas doing this right now, but I was trying to remember who was on streams a while ago, right before the war ended, downplaying the stupidity of the civilians. We were talking about, what was it, the gun thing? And it's too American to think that. Nigga, why would they?
I think Russia was.
If we keep, like, people, I need people to comprehend that heroes have failed. How many fucking times in the past couple of years, the past year alone, how many times have they failed? In big cataclysmic, like, events, not just like, oh, they failed to save this, or like, no, like they keep fucking up. They keep fucking up. And they keep fucking up.
No,
the trust is gone. The trust is gone. No, they have majorly, and this was the biggest event to that. And exposing Endeavor and all the skeletons they had in their closet. This is the biggest event to that. Like, people need to stop thinking that they're going to use logic. They're not going to trust the heroes. You think logically? Yes, the heroes are more trained professionally. Guess what? Humans don't use logic. They don't give a fuck. At 300, Wash literally said, "Hey, bro." People keep going in the streets. Like, you could see that was at the beginning of the thing. That was like 2 days later. In the streets, people are taking matters to their own hands. It's been basically a month since then. They keep trying to tell you day by day, shit gets worse. More people keep fighting for themselves. Need y'all to comprehend that. Like, they're not going to logically, okay, we should trust the heroes. The heroes failed. The heroes are
they're out there fighting for their life.
The heroes are the reason they failed to capture Shigaraki. They planned for everything. Shit went wrong, and now they have to defend themselves. They don't have the manpower. Why would I sit around and wait for heroes when there ain't no damn heroes on the street? I'm going to take matters into my own hands. They don't care about these niggas no more. That shit is done.
Also, I'm gonna be honest. One of my frustrations with this is that I understand being upset with Endeavor, and like you said, say like, God, these victims' families came on TV. Like, first of all, like they could have been done that, but also, nigga, why would I be watching TV when you getting your ass beat in these streets? Priorities. Should I sit down? Do you want me to sit down and put on Jimmy Fallon, or you want me to say today?
They don't care about logic. They want you to get you to pay, and they want you to like face what you did, but then they want you to actually fix what you did. Well, so it's like, nigga, what the fuck do you want?
People do that all the time.
You gotta like apologize and then promise to fix what you did, and then keep apologizing to where like the amount of time you spend apologizing is like taking over the amount of time actually needed to fix it.
That's why Endeavor was spitting his like, bitch, what you want? You want me to sit up here and cry and boo hoo and say I'm sorry? What the fuck is that going to fix? Nothing. So just watch me go out on the street and fix the mistakes I made. That's why I was like, yeah, this nigga spitting, because I would have said the same shit like, bitch, I'm not finna sit up here and cry. We fucked up. We finna go do some shit. Me saying sorry to you is not gonna fucking help everybody on the street.
Yeah. We have some super chats.
I'll like address these. So Dim Light doesn't get the joke, says, AFO knowing that he needs a stronger will than Deku then LFA in order to take a quirk from Deku? Why doesn't he just try to break Deku's will rather than use Shigaraki's rage? Personally, I think what it is that in the same way that he mixed the air cannon with the electrical impulse, I think that he mixes the concept of the quirk all for one with the very metaphysical concept of decay in that space, and that's what allows him to like take over. But since it's a metaphysical thing, you still need the will. So to me, it's more about incorporating his quirk with the actual realm itself of One for All, that vestige world. I don't think that in the world of the vestige world, it seems like quirks and perception are the reality of the vestige world, which is why, like Nana went from sleeveless to like having sleeves to sleeveless because she felt more back in line with her heroic duties. That's why like Deku transformed into a small child that could talk completely, because that's where his mind and like perception was going all the way back to when he was a child. So it's something to do with the rules of the vestige space itself, I think that.
Yeah, I also think that breaking Deku's will wouldn't break the will of the vestiges, who seem to have their own will. So it's like you would still need, even if you could break Deku's will and take him out of the equation, you'd still need somebody to overpower the other 8.
Also, World D champion. Thanks, Watkins. He's got to get you guys paid somehow. Love you guys. Hail Hoary Goat out of 10 chapter this week. Cheers, man. Thank you, Watkins. Oh,
and I gotta go.
Oh yeah, give your final thoughts, Sayers. I'm sorry.
I mean, I love the chapter. It's an endeavor-heavy chapter. What am I supposed to say? I love it. I really enjoy that. Just from the drawing, it's something I've only noticed now, that with the flames on, he still looks really badass, and without them, he looks just old and sick and tired.
Yeah, that's why I was like, he looks sad in that one panel when they're throwing the trash at him.
Yeah, and I kind of wonder if was that on purpose, that he, from the very beginning, did Horikoshi decide, I'm gonna make flames on his face so that when he comes to that point, I can still make him look badass in his hero costume and totally down out of it. Oh,
definitely. Because like even when I like look at the nail gun support item panel, he's like, man.
And I love seeing Deku grow, even if it's just hinted at. I'm worried about All Might, but I hope he's okay. I'm confident he's probably partly all right. And yeah, I want to see more of, how we call it, Deathstroke girl?
Lady Deathstroke.
Lady Deathstroke.
I personally just call her Ravager.
Great chapter.
Yep. Oh, it's I used to type comments about Spider-Man. Hey, I'm late, but I wanted to let you know that Bakugo is not a monster. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that.
Squid, bro. Really? Squid, man. No.
Why? What's wrong?
What'd you do, Squid? Oh, no, you're good. All right. But yeah.
I just said I'd call the prison girl Ravager because, if we're going with the Deathstroke theme, he has other kids. And, you have Jericho, and then you have that one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then Ravager is his daughter, so I was like...
Okay, so we call her Ravager.
Oh, Alves. So the way that the shoulder pads work, like, this pretty much sealed it for me. So if you remember during final exams, Mumble makes that fake Aizawa scarf out of nitinol alloy. That's a real metal made of nickel and titanium. So essentially what it is that you can superheat this metal, and then if you rapidly cool it, it'll hold that memory. And so essentially once you apply heat, it goes to a certain shape, and then when it isn't at that heat, you can like kind of like just make it go back. So effectively the nanotech, it's more than likely nano cross nitinol, and so when he powers up his fire, the pauldrons pop up so they can properly exhaust. Same thing with the ones on his hands. But when he turns the heat off, it resets, goes back, the temperature drops, and it collapses. And so it's raining, that would have made it.
I'd like to note that we haven't reached that. I don't believe we've reached that level of structural reformation in the real world.
No, but this is
particular material. But the concept it's based on is from material science. Yes.
That's why I said like it's a combination of nano plus, because we don't have nano to that degree yet, but we do have some nitinol. So
shout out to my boys in nanotech. Y'all doing some great things out there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
okay,
yeah. By the way, Ponzu, do you think that All Might is dead, flipped over in a car, about to get murked? Like how do you feel about that whole All Might getting a bomb dropped on him.
Oof. Wow. You think that he's gonna get shot?
I mean, I don't know if he's getting shot, but the fact is that we know his car got blown up or hit with the bomb. At least we don't know if it's like blown up.
He will survive. If he dies like this, it's gonna be hilarious, man.
That's what I sound like. That's the funniest fuck he just died like this.
If he dies like this, it's gonna be a good death because it will be like the normal, like a death like in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure for Yoshikage Kira, like a normal death. That will be painful in a kind of way, but it will also be perfect because he became a normal person. So yeah, as a normal person, he got a normal death. You know what I mean? So it will be painful for us as reader, but it will be good for his character at the end because he was seen like a god, but at the end he died like a human in a car accident. You know what?
I mean, I see how that makes sense, but I think for Tomura's character, he has to be the one to do it.
Yes, for me too. It would be better that it is like we see him like going like in shambles through the hands of my man Shigaraki,
or he's heavily injured because of the car accident, and his injury persists until the rematch, and then that's where Tomura kills him.
Yeah, that's good. I'm happy with that too. But yeah, for me, if he dies, it's gonna be hilarious. I'm gonna laugh. But it would be pain. That would be like a laugh from pain. You laugh from pain. That will be the stuff. But yeah, But he's gonna. My man, our God is gonna survive. You know, even he's a false god. He's still kind of a god. He will survive.
So I don't expect him to die from the bomb, but I do think this could be set up for his death because if you guys remember, there's a couple of ways that I've always talked about All Might dying. One of them was live stream it and have like Shigaraki do it in front of everyone, which would completely shatter people, even with him having been retired. It would just. But one of the other things that I always like the idea of is Deku barely making it in time to see.
Like Flash.
Yeah, like one of those scenarios. And then it's like he gets to see All Might die, but he doesn't get to save him. And that would also go back to what they talked about at the end of the USJ arc in season 1, where he was like, anytime somebody has called out for All Might and he's arrived on time, he's managed to save them. He's never failed to save somebody he was actually in front of. So I think having Deku actually go through the idea of like seeing All Might's death. So that means he's not getting caught by Lady Deathstroke and Overhaul here, or whatever deal that they come to is going to be different than what they initially came there for. Because the way I look at it is that whatever Overhaul is trying to get out of the situation, whether it be his arms back, whether it be, just a way to save the boss, he's better off trying to figure out a way to align with Deku, even though they're further apart. They're still a bit more human. They both have a bit more dedication to each other. So that whole meeting the villains that he's met before and the Rogues Gallery thing, in order of understanding, is likely to be the direction we're going here. So we won't see. So Stain will probably be the next one we get to see, and then like Gentle.
Yeah, for the moment you were always right about the stuff about how the story was going. Like he's gonna make his Rogues Gallery. We got his first one was our man Muscular. Now we get the second one, like that second one. The thing right for the moment, what we saw, we get the people that he's the least connected to. The villain that he's the most connected to will be I forgot the name. With the stabby guy, the tongue blood. Stain, and the comic duo. Here, these are the ones that he can understand the most, and the ones that he can understand, that he couldn't really understand was Bakugo, Beef Bakugo, and the other one, Muscular, and Overall. Damn, sorry, I just can't come on my words for the moment. Maybe I'm
Hanzo, you've
tired.
got like 4 languages in your brain. Nobody's.
So, yeah. All Might is fine. You think his whip ain't got
So,
protection?
I think it scales both ways. I think his whip has protection, but I also think anybody throwing a bomb at All Might is going to throw a stronger bomb at All Might. That's enough to do some damage to the whip. See how it works? Like,
Bro, he's straight
obviously you
riding in a
wouldn't
phantom, bro.
like, like for me, it cuts both ways. Like, of course, All Might would have a good whip. So, of course, if you're going to go after somebody who can afford hero like whips, it only makes sense that you would have higher caliber weapons.
I wonder who's like the car manufacturer who's just making these like high-end whips for top heroes.
It also comes down to whether or not the windows blow out, because I could see the frame working and then it being too much for the glass, because it was right by the window. So there's that too. Oh yeah, definitely. Muscular and Overhaul had Deku almost on the verge of death multiple times. So let's see, what are we at? We're at like 2 hours, right?
Yeah, around there.
Yeah, we're at 2 hours. Anybody got any other like speculations, anything you ran into that you really want to talk about?
Right now, I just dropped this then. So what I noticed back at, I won't even read it from the thing. What I noticed back at 311, for those of you who follow me, but I didn't get to say it when I read the chapter initially. Horikoshi is, well, you already know Horikoshi the GOAT, but do you realize why Horikoshi the GOAT?
Why?
And I made a tweet that he already rivaled the MC and the DC and the Marvel universe. But at face value, you wouldn't know what I'm talking about, right? So, in 306 chapters of basically prologue and setup, and with 100 and I think like 10 chapters of Vigilantes, I know like 103 or 4 chapters of Vigilantes, Horikoshi has created his own entire mini universe for MHA, which he said he wanted to do prior to, right? So now that this universe actually rivals, if you think about it, Marvel and DC in a sense, and that there are so many throw off characters or characters that we haven't seen in years that could come back at any point within time in the story, because it's already, think about it, then you know how the story works, the entire narrative. So now things just happen and flow naturally in order. Then set up, like explaining this, explaining that. All it is left is just downfall and you flowing through everything you set up to play it out. So when I said Horikoshi set himself up for nothing but greatness when we're releasing all these prisoners, how I was so focused on the plot, and he was so disciplined to focus on everything on the plot and not enough fan service. The MHA doesn't have much fan service in the way of fights and shit. The latter half of this final act wouldn't be nothing basically but just fan service and fights and just pay off for everything that's set up. Because you have any character, like, think about it like this. Overhaul is already fucking here. If Horikoshi wants to just bring back Stainer, think about it, how plausible it is at this point in time that basically we're reading a Batman comic. We're reading the comic books now at this point, not just your average manga. So I can throw any character I want already pre-established prior to and throw him back in there, and then we got to arc with this person. We got to fight with this person. Think about it. You get a rapper Kieran, she will fight 20 chapters down the line, and who are you say anything otherwise? Or you can bring out a new villain and somebody fighting this villain and this, that, and the other. Or I can bring in Geeton fight this person. I can bring in this person fighting this person, or new, just any type of matchup I want. It's just like the universe he's built is so vast and expansive now, and it's so self-contained. You don't have to rewrite shit, but you can do anything you want with it. And all it took was that much setup to now the world just flows the way it does. Who's to say we don't get something with Edshaw now fighting some other strong villain just because they can throw away them now because it's 10,000 prison escapees doing what they do.
You're right.
An overall expansive universe created in this short amount of time. So you throw that one to Vigilantes who say I want to take some character from there and bring Captain Celebrity back in the series, and he do something.
Do you think the panel of Denzu during the Endeavor press conference was on like organizing the Deku leaving UA? No, that was the clue and hint that Nezu's the traitor. Just one more clue. Like I said, the war arc already showed y'all Nezu the traitor. You better go watch that video if you ain't watch it. He the traitor. And one of the things that somebody said on the comments in that video is that the Nezu's going to use the robots. And I don't know if you remember this, East, but I used to joke about the robots being evil because they're always
Yeah.
talking shit.
Yeah.
So I do think that with the fact that we also got confirmation those are military grade robots, technically, that what that might have been setting up in Tartarus is for them to have to fight the robots like in actual real combat mode, not just in melee mode like they normally do. Because those 0 pointers actually had weapons on them at the military base.
And they took Shigaraki in them a good minute to like Shigaraki didn't have the KAV tougher to take the motherfucker down.
So the way I look at it is that what we could get is UA turns into Nezu's House of Horrors.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Not to mention, because it's a sanctuary now, they have tons of hostages, potentially thousands.
Yeah.
I gotta say, Nezu's been playing this pretty big game.
What? Skynet, lol. Skynet, my fault.
So I think he is a sleeper agent. Like somebody mentioned that some of Nezu's behaviors do feel like somebody trying to figure out and catch their own selves as a sleeper agent. And I agree with that. And I think that, but I do think the person who will finally put it all together is going to have to be Aizawa or Mike, because of the fact that they're the only people, actually it has to be Mike right now, unless he made it a point to mention what was said to him. Because when he said back then, what I really wanted was erasure, he literally admitted, I was targeting Aizawa back in the day.
Yeah, and that's a thing too. I want people to point out, like, when y'all talk about the traitor being a child, I'm like, well, that kind of nobody notices. That kind of tracks back to before Aoyama was born or even conceived. Like back in high school, these niggas were looking at them, which means the Shirakumo shit was a setup. It just like didn't go the way they planned it.
Because
Garvey was used intentionally.
And he literally said like UA is like finding a fine winery, collecting grapes and like digging through a 5-star dumpster for quirks. That means that insinuates that's not the only fucking time they took somebody from UA.
Yeah, because like if you remember what I said in the video, I talked about how also just comparing it to a restaurant is weird. Like, but it's not so weird when you think about the UA Sports Festival being an all-you-can-eat buffet displaying the menu of quirks that All For One can have. And that would also explain his insistence. It would also explain why the Nomu that showed up to kill All Might on the day that Aizawa was there, because they were trying to cash in on that eraser too. Because one of the most important things that has happened throughout this series is that they've gone out of their way, like every now and then there's little comments or jokes or whatever about like, oh yeah, All For One would have been taken out if Aizawa was there. Horikoshi knows that.
Yeah.
And it was even highlighted in the Overhaul arc. Deku broke Overhaul's arm and was going to keep whooping his ass because Aizawa looked at him. The only reason why that like went left is because Chrono woke up in time.
Yep.
Otherwise, he just gets stomped out right there. Like Deku beats his ass, he has no quirk, and that's the end of the fight.
Yep.
So, and then you remember, they tried to take Aizawa. They wanted to take his quirk and apply his genetic information to quirk erasing bullets.
Yep.
You think All For One? Because again, I like posted the panels in the video or whatever, so you can go and see it. When you look at how that went down, Garvey blows up out of the building and is looking in a straight line and just goes in it. He immediately, boom, makes a straight beeline, just rushes straight towards where Aizawa and Loud Cloud are. They settled on Shirakumo. They wanted Aizawa because they would have taken his quirk, whether they made him a Nomu. Like, let's say you kill Aizawa and you turn him into a high end. Who beats that high end?
Niggas can answer.
No one. Exactly. Nobody is beating an Aizawa high end.
That's a fact.
Also, no one is beating All For One with Aizawa's quirk. Aizawa is the reason that has always been like the reason for the past 15 years now that we've had a chance at taking down All For One, because he stood up to Garvey that day. That's how important Aizawa's character actually has been to the story. So that's just where we at. You know?
Yeah. Have you guys seen the exhibition?
Yes, some of it. I've seen some of the exhibition art.
All right. So the pamphlet was recently leaked by people who had actually went to the exhibit. And one thing, and for like, remember that like purple monster under the law?
Oh, it's about the Aoyama thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Originally, I kind of had a suspicion that this was going to confirm he was the traitor. But when I look back at it, like you see his facial expression and then you see the monster behind him, I think he's going to be the whistleblower.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because, like, you look at the framing of the shot and he seems very sorrowful. And then you see the monster behind him and it's locked away. So
Yeah.
I
Like,
ultimately think he's going to be the one to reveal who's going to be the traitor. But he isn't the traitor. He's just going to figure it out.
yeah. No, like, so my thing is that Aoyama could have been the traitor. And if there's a student that was the traitor, it would be Aoyama. But I don't think that like he has to be. And so you remember how back in the day, they were like, "Where Aoyama, where were you?" And he was like, "It's a secret." I thought about it. And that scene is one of the best scenes to use as an example for why Aoyama is the traitor. Because even though people are like, well, he didn't see Invisible Girl, like I'm like, yeah, but she's invisible. Like that doesn't matter really too much. But then I thought about how when we had the Aoyama outside the window chapters, and we were all like, oh snap, traitor reveal, here it comes, Aoyama the traitor. And then it was like, nope, they're friends, and then he pooped his pants. What if the reason Aoyama was missing during USJ is because he was in the bathroom taking a shit? Like
that makes sense.
It was it was a setup for him to take a shit the entire time. It was the first red herring. That's what like it might be that.
That makes sense. I remember also, like, I'm not sure which panel this was from, but I remember him like using a like a French saying, and I like went on Twitter, and apparently it's like a warning.
Yeah.
So the idea of him being more of a whistleblower than the actual traitor, I think, is starting to become the more plausible option. Because everything is screaming warning. Why would a traitor warn you? That seems counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Oh man.
that's kind of where I'm at with that one. But yeah. So like
Yeah,
I
I got
guess,
Twitter.
oh yeah, he is trash in combat. Yeah, just if you want to find East Kohei on Twitter, he's Archbishop East. You
Yep.
look that up, you'll find him. Believe
If you
that.
want to find me, you can find me too on Twitter. Follow
I'll make it a
me.
point to, I'll put everybody's Twitters in the link when this is over. Actually, let's start doing the wind down.
Mhm.
Let's go. Squid. Final thoughts.
This is a solid 7 out of 10 chapter. This is
Mhm.
mostly transition. Again, like points for consistent characterization of the civilians. The last panel is excellent. I particularly love the use of lighting to where, and just in general, the design of her weapon and just her apparel. It meshes very well with the dark atmosphere of the night, which creates a very tense vibe. And that's like one of my biggest things for the chapter. Um, the actual dialogue with the investigation, I think, really adds to All for One's character because he's kind of always had this in-universe ambiguity to
Mhm.
where it's not unintentional by the story to where he's purposely made to be questioned, and the dialogue just shows that even more. It's another positive for me. I for the Viz, I think it was a missed opportunity to use Gods of the Plague because of the cultural significance there. But ultimately communicates the main idea, that being that they are seen as these unaccountable bringers of misfortune. They they don't fix the situation, they make it worse. I just found that a little bit of a missed opportunity. Endeavor's new showcase move, Ignited Arrow,
Oh man, that was fire.
it I liked it. I would have preferred to see a little bit of a larger panel for it, but I understand it's not really a flash fire move. It's more of a base skill set. I understand that, but I would have appreciated it. The first group of thugs, that being the guys with the nail guns, for such like characters of such little importance, I do appreciate their designs. And the nail gun is very detailed for what's pretty much a
Yeah, like a
not very
one-off item.
significant support item for the story in terms of Detnerat. But I just need more. I like what they're mentioning, but I'd like to see. I'd like to see Ed Shaw leading his investigation. I'd like to see Shigaraki and All for One's dialogue and struggles inside of that little vestige world of theirs. I would like, and I think this is going to be answered next chapter. I'd like to know why the prison girl and Kai are working together. I personally think they're not connected to All for One. And I just need to know more about, Ravager herself. Because her first action in 297 was to basically free someone who, as far as we know, she didn't know. So I think this is hinting at a much more sympathetic character in terms of backstory, perhaps a more, that archetype of like the honorable hired gun. But she has very interesting design. I can't wait to see more from her. And altogether, this is just a solid transition chapter, 7 out of 10.
All right, Bonzu.
So for me, it was an 8 on 10. Like said, Squid. It is a solid transition chapter. We saw the aspect of society. We saw the heroes, so the characters in the story thinking, and they're like the same way of thought as us. So it shows that these are they're reading as humans too. You know what I mean? They're reading as humans too. People make theories, make choices in their own stuff. It's really great to see that. And from what we know, they are not sure of what they're talking about. So that is a great stuff to see. And we get the end with Mademoiselle Deathstroke. Really fun to see. I love her character design. So I can't wait to see what's coming up next. I will be there next week. So see you guys, and bisous.
Archbishop East.
Oh, it's me. Listen, y'all already know what I'm gonna say. They talk about transit, and that. Man, listen. Gas pack this, gas pack that. Man, listen. I don't know what the fuck y'all talking about. Talking about some wavering. Boy, you must be silly and goofy. I know you can't read, but damn, man, you must. If you can't read, stop talking. I don't know what to tell you. You an adult. You know how to conduct yourself, but apparently not. If you looking at goofy. Listen, man. And these niggas are down bad. It only gets greater from here. Horikoshi really set himself up for the future. All this just pay off. It was a god tier out of 10. I don't know what everybody's talking about, dog. This shit finna go through the roof. All right. RP All Might, nigga dead by a grenade. Nah, just fuck with y'all, man. Listen, man, I'm so gassed up. I don't know. I need fucking.
Listen, they're not going platinum. They're going double uranium, son.
I just shit, nigga. We using vibranium, cuz. What the fuck going on? I was fucking shit. No, for real, man. Chapter's God tier at 10. I usually do 10 out of 10, but this is God tier at 10. That last page, we in some fucking Batman shit now, baby boy. This shit get real deal. Fuck y'all other comics, nigga. Fuck y'all other manga, nigga. We using comics out in this bitch. Bombing season, boy. Undefeated of the East, hell, hoary, nigga. Untouched in the heavens.
I love you, Archbishop East. All right, y'all. So that's gonna be it from us this week. We hope to see you next Sunday because we got another chapter following this up. Really looking forward to this. I love the amount. I am actually disappointed they didn't use the God of the Plagues. Granted, in our culture, that would be seen as weird. And honestly, I don't think even with people knowing the right translation, it doesn't necessarily help people understand what's being referenced. And the Rush Hour of the Gods is an advent that people don't really talk about. In fact, if you try to Google it a lot, you won't find a lot of information on it. I tried to, trust me, because I was going to give you guys a video that talked about that time period a lot. But really, it's just freedom. So, but what I will say is that I personally do think this chapter is better than like in that 8 to 9 range, like it's on week to week experience. But like what this is potentially setting up and the amount of like plot points and surprises and dramatic irony and all this other stuff could easily just make this whole last stretch crazy.
If you want a resource,
this is basically like confirmation that Hawks doesn't have wings, which I know like certain people who got on Twitter to complain about how Hawks had his wings back and everybody was, but we still haven't seen them. So that it just is what it is.
So does his wings grow back, or are they just like carbon? They just put that they're just like done.
I'm pretty sure they're just done. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure he actually cremated dude's wings off his back.
Damn. So he's really became Walks. Damn. Oh.
Yeah.
His name ain't even Walks. It's just like crippled.
Lots.
So yeah.
No. Clipped wings. Clipped. Yeah, that's his real name. Clips.
All right, y'all. They wildin'. You have a wonderful day.
Yeah.
Make sure to say hello to your mothers and send them love.
Yes.
Hail Hori.
Love you. Love mothers,
Wish a
man.
happy Mother's Day for all your mothers. Mm-hmm.